What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hola.
Hola, indeed. You're wearing one of your favorite video shirts.
This is my happy shirt. This is the Wolverine shirt.
Why are you happy today?
It's just a good day. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Wednesday?
Yeah,
no,
it's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
We did a great 24-hour live stream yesterday.
Yeah, you did a lot of that.
I did 4 hours of that.
Oh, man, you really pulled.
That was a
You
decent
burned the
chunk.
midnight oil on that one. Over here, the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I like your shirt a lot. Shovel Knight.
Thank you. I picked this design out. You can find it on the internet.
So you're admitting to being in the money hat for Shovel Knight?
No.
You're admitting to being in the T-shirt hat for Shovel Knight.
This shirt.
You're admitting to liking designs.
Yep.
All right, we got him. We nailed him. Over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let's get nasty.
Now, Tim. Oh, Jesus God. Is
Can
that
that be
the
a
new
thing?
thing?
Can that be
I
a
think
thing?
so. You're a nasty motherfucker,
I'm
according
a
to that Let's
nasty
Play. That
motherfucker.
got a lot of pickup.
Yeah.
A lot of people were tweeting me about that shit. Before we go any further with this show, I'm sorry, people listening to MP3, you got screwed over. Tim, you're wearing a new shirt.
I am wearing a new
There's
shirt.
a
Thanks
bit-
for bringing this up.
No
Greg.
problem. I know it means a lot to you. It's not
So,
a pigeon shirt. It's not a black V-neck.
It's not. It's the new blue V-neck from Express.
It's turquoise.
Every year they
that's
have
true?
it. Yes. But every year they have 3 different blues. This is the new shade, so I had to get it. I'm pretty excited.
Is this
about
a real thing? Like they
Oh, this
say
is a
this
real
is the
thing.
new. Hey, we're
it.
Express and
No,
this is the new.
You just notice.
I like it. I like the
colors.
color.
Oh, it looks.
They've
it
never
looks
had it
nice.
before.
Yeah, it looks
very,
nice.
very happy about it.
You look good on camera.
It's
Yeah.
the color of Native American beads. This is what it reminds me of. You know, like you see Native American.
Sure. A good friend of mine told me
jewelry.
the Native Americans like to be called Indians.
They do. Me.
Yeah, that's why you backing down.
Indian, because Indian beads is like a little. Well, like you could use the word Indian to describe Native Americans.
Yeah.
And in fact, that is
Also
not
people from
offensive at
India.
all. But if you're talking about something that could be Indian from India,
Yeah.
Indian jewelry, then
Sure.
then we're not talking about Indian jewelry. We're talking about Native American jewelry. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I think you explained it very well, and I'll shake your hand.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you.
working with you.
But turquoise always reminds me of Native American jewelry.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Reminds me of just a broke ass shirt.
It's not no broke ass shirt.
Yeah,
That shirt
the
probably
broke
costs
ass
about
shirt.
$40.
Baller ass shirt. I was thinking that we should just sell black V-necks and call it.
I was gonna say this happened yesterday. We did. If you're in a time capsule overnight, we did do a 24-hour live stream, pretty much 19-hour
19 hours.
19-hour
Don't
live
oversell
stream
it.
of The Walking Dead, where I played it through Walking Dead seasons 1, 400 days in season 2, and everybody's when you guys popped in, I'll have a little bit different. But you did come up with the idea that we need to sell the Tim shirt on districtlines.com. That is just a black V-neck,
Yeah.
It's genius.
and that's
really.
all it is. Like we wouldn't. That sounds like a great idea.
I'm right behind it. I'm good for it.
I think we should do it.
Also
you
on
have black V-necks up on the site by the time this posts.
I can try.
I'm putting it down.
I can try.
We'll do,
I think this is a brilliant idea.
what if we do it as just the limited edition Tim shirt
Yeah.
on kindoffunny.com
Just the black
/store?
V-neck.
You only do 50 of them, like we did with
Genius.
the Portillo shirts.
Yeah.
There you go.
see
There you go.
what
Everybody. Go to kindoffunny.com /store.
Man, our
Look
minds
for,
are really working right now.
Look
Yeah.
for the official Tim shirt. What are they calling it? What is it?
What's up?
The Tim shirt?
Yeah, it's a Tim shirt.
The Tim shirt. Put it up as the Tim
let's
shirt.
call it the Legend of Freak Nasty shirt.
No, that's because Legend of
I-
Freak Nasty needs to be his own thing. That's
I
the
want to
amazing
put
thing.
something on the shirt though. Can I put like
No!
just like a very faint outline of you? Just like
I mean, but that's not.
That's the opposite of what we're saying.
all right.
Take your design and shove it up your ass.
We'll
My
see. We're gonna sell
God.
3 of these.
Now,
But the
before-
good news is that we won't eat any of the costs because they literally don't have to print any of them.
Exactly.
So
That's why
that's
it's
fun.
exciting.
So genius.
It's a really good idea.
But what you really should buy is on kindoffunny.com/store. This guy.
Oh
Right,
yeah.
yeah. The Panda Must Ghostbusters 2 painting that's hung behind us here on the Game Over
Yeah.
Greggy set forever.
So many people have been tweeting at us like, when can we buy this poster? Can we buy this? Yes. Now you can at kindoffunny.com/store. And it's really cool. I
So
got
buy
one in my
that. Buy
room.
the Tim T-shirt, the Tim V-neck.
Buy the Tim V-neck too.
Yeah.
Do you
Both
really
of
have
them.
one in your room?
Of this?
Yeah.
Of course I do. Are you kidding me?
Frame it with pride and put it in your bedrooms.
Yeah.
As well. Replace the pictures of your children.
I'm
with that.
sure Tim, has a drink in him, just the
Uh-huh.
one. He has a Zima, and then he brings
Yeah.
the girl back to
Zima.
the crib, and
Yeah.
they open the bedroom door, and there's a fucking a painting of him shirtless with 3 other shirtless
First
guys.
question always,
And a
where are
wiener
they?
dog. Where are they?
I'm just like, let's go to the studio.
You brought up something interesting, Tim.
I usually do.
You are a very interesting fellow. Please tell the legend of Freak Nasty. You gave the legend of Freak Nasty the story
Yeah.
on the live stream, but I worry not everybody gets the Twitch video on demand. I don't want this to fade into obscurity.
Yeah, because
I'd like this to be part of the canon.
This is a big part of my upbringing.
Yeah.
Really. When I was young, me and my little brother would go to buy Pokemon cards, and on the way to the card store, there was this like park that you had to walk through, similar to Golden Gate Park, but smaller. And
So it's just a park.
Yes, we're walking through it. I was maybe 12. My brother maybe 10. And all of a sudden, this homeless man comes out and starts speaking to us. And he wasn't really asking us for money, or he wasn't really like asking us to do anything. Usually, homeless people ask you to do things. He was just telling us stories, and he was just telling all this shit. And like we were just kind of like,
He's just walking alongside you.
walking with us, just kind of talking. And we weren't scared of him. He was like, just like, all right, you're just a dude doing this. And then all of a sudden, he started talking about women and like women he's been with. So we're interested because we're 12 and 10.
Did you stop at this point?
Well, no, we're still walking. I mean, we weren't going to stop in the park with this guy. Like, we weren't scared, but we weren't like completely not
stupid.
scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were like, we need to get our Pokemon cards.
Of course.
Those first edition booster packs.
What's
like,
happening with that
flying off the
Charizard? You
shelves.
got to get him.
So we're on the way, and then all of a sudden, they just take a turn for the worst, really, or the best. I'm not really sure. But all of a sudden, he just goes, they call me nasty. Freak nasty. And I'm all about getting in that ass. And we were like, holy shit. And then at that point,
Do you think he meant that
I'm
figuratively or
all
literally?
about
See, here's the thing.
getting in that ass.
he wasn't talking about us, though. Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing. A lot when I've told the story before, people are like, you were about to get raped by a homeless man. Like, no. He was about getting the asses of
Just
many other people.
the royal
The
ass,
others.
the royal we.
But yeah, freak nasty.
Okay.
The legend will live on
That's
forever.
about
beautiful.
getting up in that ass. Who isn't?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, the whole show posts each and every Friday on patreon.com/kindoffunny for early access. If you don't feel like giving us money, no big deal. Over on youtube.com/kindoffunny, it's broken out topic by topic, day by day, until we post the entire thing on MP3 services and YouTube on Friday.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere now.
Everywhere you want to be.
Everywhere to me when Michelle
Are you
fucking
shushing
Branch.
him, or are you like? Is that like the waves? In the
No, I'm
background?
shushing. I'm definitely shushing him. I don't want to hear
Not
that.
alone. You remember Michelle Branch?
Yeah, how could I
God,
forget?
did I have a crush on Michelle
Do you remember
Branch?
Stacy Orico?
No.
Shout out to Stacy
I don't
Orico.
know if I remember her.
Who's
There's got to
she?
be more to life.
Who's Stacy Orico?
There's gotta be more to life.
It's kind of insulting that you're bringing this woman up in the same breath as Michelle Branch.
Michelle Branch,
Start picking your words.
Stacy
very...
Orico,
Start-
and
Vanessa Carlton.
Vanessa Carlton
Contemporaries.
might as
Still-
well be freaking
Still
the same person.
Very fucking insulting. Because no, this Stacy woman I've never heard of.
Stacy was the kind of hip hop one that did some shit with Jin. Shout out to Jin. Shout out to Too Fast, Too Furious.
It's insulting that you're doing this. I'm sure Stacy had to come along after Michelle Branch and Vanessa Carlton. They burst on the scene when I was like 2001. When I was all about them.
I would think about all of them at the same time. In my
Like in a timeline or like in a fantasy?
fantasy.
Okay, that's fine. That's they're all playing music and you're just dancing in the center.
Yeah, and she's playing
You're doing
the
the Ally
piano and
McBeal
we're
baby
moving.
dance. Yeah, there it is. Making my way downtown.
It's actually a really good song.
Oh my god, that album was good too. They made her change one of the lyrics though when she got on the album. Like this is right when LimeWire hit, so I could get all the stuff before it was like I got all of her like live stuff when she was trying to find a label, and then you went and listened to the album they put out, and they had to change a bunch of stuff, divide and conquer this world. That's not the real lyrics. That's not what it's supposed to be. Then Michelle Branch, I bought her album through I assume her mom or somebody, because I bought her like her independent like pressing. You know what I mean? Where I was like, oh cool, I'll mail away for this, and then it came back to me in like a hand addressed envelope or whatever. I thought that was dope.
So was the original one not 1,000 miles? It was like just 900 miles?
now you're going back to the wrong person.
Oh,
They didn't
whatever.
change
They're the
Vanessa
same fucking
Carlton.
person.
Come on.
It surprised me that she had an independent career at all. She had record label written all over her.
Michelle Branch?
Yeah.
I think
So
it was just like
it's-
you put out your first album and then you sell that.
Oh yeah, I always assumed she was just totally manufactured.
The big
That's
mystery,
interesting that she
the big
had-
mystery about Michelle Branch, and I'll tell you, and this is without ever having looked at her Wikipedia page, but I've read a lot of interviews about her, is that on that album I got, right, Broken Bracelet, this independent label she put out, all of the photos, all of the promo photos of Michelle Branch, she had,
Why were you so into Michelle Branch?
loved her music. She's an amazing artist. She was beautiful, of course, but that was just her music spoke to me, much like T Swift.
She was no Stacey
All right.
Orico, though.
She wasn't. Anyways, she had I would say a birthmark or something. It looked like around her eye.
Like
And-
Gorbachev?
Yeah, similar to that. It was like the photos on the Broken Bracelet album sleeve were all black and white. So it was always, is it a shadow? I don't think so, because it's in every photo. That's an impossible shadow. That's impossible.
That's not how
there's
light works.
Something always floating around. But then every professional photo you've ever seen of her never had it. I followed her on Instagram for a while. when I you know-
Instagram.
yeah, recently. I'm
Fucking
talking.
Instagram.
Not back in the
Michelle
day.
Branch has an Instagram.
Right, but she's all like about being a mom and like
Oh my God, no.
healthy eating stuff, and it's
I gotta
like I
look
had to
up
bail
Michelle
out.
Branch.
I had to bail out
There's
on
nothing
this.
worse than that.
Yeah, no. So I don't know. I when I meet Michelle Branch and we have her on the Game Over Greggy show, question number 3 will probably be, well, what's up with your face on the Spirit Room album sleeve? That's all I want. Oh, I'm sorry, Broken Bracelet. Spirit Room was the one afterwards. Sorry, Broken Bracelet's the one I'm interested in.
I don't think
Now,
you should ever
There's
ask
a
somebody
fascinating story in the sleeve about Broken Bracelet because it was named
About
after
Broken Bracelet?
Right. It's this album's name, Broken Bracelet. It was
Birthmark.
because Jewel's manager, when he saw her perform or met her or
Jewel.
whatever. Yeah, Jewel.
I remember Jewel.
You do.
Intuition.
He gave.
Yeah, that was a later song, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
Okay, thank you.
She was hot in that video. If I
She
remember
was.
correctly.
There's the
Yeah,
freaking
she was-
water going everywhere.
Yeah, she was actually like really hot, like surprisingly hot in that video. Okay, good.
Jewel's manager gave Michelle Branch a little bracelet to wear, and he said, "When this breaks, you'll be famous." And it broke the day she signed the deal for the album that it broke, and it was amazing.
Man.
Are you done?
The
Yeah.
legend of Michelle Branch.
Michelle Branch's
The
legend
legend
lives
of
on.
Michelle
It lives
Branch.
on. The legend of Freak Nasty.
It's
And
like
the
an-
legend of Michelle Branch.
Legend of Michelle Branch sounds like a
Please.
like a hidden object adventure game on PC. Or something.
Please name this episode "The Legend of Michelle Branch," aka Freak Nasty.
Freak nasty.
Get up in that ass.
Nick,
Yes.
what's your topic?
Well, my topic, of course, always comes from our lovely community, which you can find me if you have a topic on Twitter at Nick_Scarpino. If you have topic suggestions, please send them forward, and we might be able to put them on the show. But Greg,
Yeah.
that's not the only community we have on YouTube. We also have we have a thriving community on Patreon.
Vast community.
Vast
Oh my God,
community.
yeah, it's thriving. The whole Patreon community is the whole reason we're able to do this now. Is
And
our
if-
full-time job.
Vast.
If you want a surefire way of getting your topic on the show, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunny, and there is a tier where we will allow you, if you buy into it, to get your topic, just like an old friend of ours, Greg.
An old friend of ours did it.
Came out of the woodwork.
To spend money on us to be.
He's
a
not
topic?
doing anything. Actually, he's probably shiftlessly about. He's not working on anything in particular at all.
Yeah.
He's probably this close from just ending it all, if I had to guess.
Jesus.
My
Yeah.
God.
What friend do we have that's this big of a failure?
It's our old friend Mike Drucker. Yeah.
Lead writer on Up at Noon, the original Up at Noon
Yeah,
writer.
and so and literally after that it was all downhill for there. He got some other job on someone's show. I think his name was something like Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon or
it's
something like that.
Jimmy Fallon. He
That
writes for the
guy's
Tonight Show. Mike Drucker
nothing.
writes for the Tonight Show.
Yeah, he's actually super
No.
successful. Mike, we love you.
So this was chump change when he bought his topic on the Game Over.
This
Greggy
was
show.
he found some pocket lint and threw it at Patreon, and he bought us for an entire 30 minutes. That's how cheap we are. But thanks to Mike Drucker, we now have this lovely topic to throw at for all our suggestions and amusement. Mike Drucker says, I would like the three of you,
Okay.
to comment on a live stream of Nick Scarpino's morning hair ritual. Now, we can't do a live stream because that would require a lot of setup, and my bathroom's not quite big enough for that. But Greg, if you want to open up your laptop, I've
My
prepared
God.
a little bit of a video
My
for you guys to
sweet
watch.
Lord.
Jesus.
And before we get into it, yes, I was naked the entire time this
God
was filmed.
damn it, yes.
Who filmed it, Tim?
I waited so long for this. No, I didn't
move
film
Superman.
it. I wasn't invited.
Oh, did your wife do it? That makes more sense.
I had to have my wife do it.
Superman's back there by Leon from Resident Evil 4 if you're looking for him.
Which, by the way, there's nothing more humiliating than having to film something in front of your wife that doesn't think you're very funny. I just want everyone to know that.
I want everyone to know too. Colin's girlfriend Cheryl right now has begun blending something. She's making orange juice, but putting an apple in it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about
It's
that.
like
actually.
solving racism, Greg.
Or poverty.
There's been fights between orange juice and apple juice for years.
Oh, so this is the.
What
Just
a,
breaking
what a
the
dumb
walls
fight
down.
too. Who
Yeah.
would
To
who
the
would drink
cookie.
apple juice over orange juice?
Just
Kinda
the
fucking
right people.
blunderous
I
fucking,
totally would.
I fucking love
Your
apple
blunderous
juice, man.
fucking journey through life that brings you to apple juice.
Apple
over
juice
orange
is the homie, and it always has been.
Apple juice. I'm not saying apple juice ain't a homie. I'm just saying that what does that make orange juice like the monarch basically because it's
I don't
it's
know.
the ultimate.
No,
juice.
orange juice is that like punk on the corner that you don't want nothing to do with.
First or second grade, at lunch, I mixed in a cocoa packet to a thing of apple juice. Barfed on the bus on the
fuck's
way
wrong
home.
just a
Barfed on the
terrible-
bus on the way home. So sick.
Did you cry?
Man,
You
you're
tried
a
to.
childhood dude. Like I want to just go to Illinois one week and just talk. I want to do nothing but talk to your parents,
Jamie Kennedy?
and your old teachers,
Right.
Oh,
and some
man.
select friends to see just how fucking twisted your childhood was. Because there's a common thread between all the stories that you tell. Whether it's you throwing pee on your wall, whether it's you buying 2 of every action figure and you keep one in the package, about
the
you
common
showing your
theme?
girlfriend your toys when you're like 16 years old.
Yeah.
The common thread is that some switch is loose in your head, Greg. That's
Yeah.
the common thread.
Yeah, there's a
through all the
transistor.
stories.
There's some sort of circuit or a transistor
I
there that
think
just didn't
everyone
get
who's
soldered
watched
in
the Game
correctly.
Over Greggy show is well aware that there's a switch loose in my head. All right, here comes the video from Nick.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Nick Scarpino. I'm going to show you how I do my hair in the morning. Here we go. Okay, the first thing you want to do is start off with a nice, clarifying shampoo, like my wife's Kerastase. Get all that nasty stuff from the night before out.
Is your
all that
girlfriend
sweat?
filming this?
My
Or
wife.
your wife, rather? I'm sorry.
Get it all up in there. Get a little mohawk action.
Sorry, my girlfriend.
Now that we've shampooed it, let's go style it. When it comes to drying, I like to air dry like Cuba Gooding Jr. from the movie Jerry Maguire. I get a little light towel, but I never blow dry because blow drying destroys the hair. Before we get to styling, I want to talk to you a little bit about hair loss prevention. There are two main drugs in the market right now you can use for that. One is called finasteride, which is the generic version of Propecia, and the other one is called Rogaine, which I'm sure you've seen the men's hair Rogaine commercials, all that stuff. Before you use either of these, please consult your doctor for best practices. It might not work for you, so go talk to a professional, but I'll show you how I do it. Now, Propecia is a pill that you take by the mouth once a day, not anally, as I came to learn the hard way. It tastes like a pill. I just started using this next product, so jury's still out as to how well it works. I stand by the Propecia, but as far as the Rogaine is concerned, we got a month or two before I can actually tell anyone if it's working for me. But the goal is to really fill in these little spots right here and try to get my drum major hairline back. And I'll show you how I do that. Take a little bit of this bad boy right here. Alright, you got about 1 milliliter.
I didn't know you
Fill
had
in
used
these areas
this.
a little,
just
just
started.
dab it on a little bit right here. Now the goal, of course, is not to necessarily grow back what I had when I was 16, but we're going to try to get that hairline a little bit thicker, just so that when I'm on camera, I don't look like everyone's old grandfather who perversely tries to hug young girls a little too closely. We're going to do the same on this side. Don't worry, remember you gotta make sure. Now this stuff's only FDA approved for the back of your head, but I'm a rebel. I'm going hardcore
Really?
in the front of the head. And I think the reason they have it FDA approved for the back of the head and not the front of the head is because if it gets in your eyes, it burns like hell. So you're gonna want to make sure you take a little bit of this zhuzh and just kind of sop up the extras here. Don't laugh at me. And that is the Rogaine. And like I said, you can check back with me in a month or two, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. Now let's style. Now, once your hair is adequately dried, I like to apply two products. One is this Kerastase molding paste. This is a nice lightweight paste that throughout the day is going to kind of dissipate, so you're not going to go to bed and feel like you get a lot of heavy stuff in your hair in case you don't shower at night. The other is this Bumble and Bumble hairspray. This is a very lightweight hairspray. If you want a little bit more of a hold, you can go with the purple. This thing is like, this will shellac the shit out of your hair. Take a little dabble, a little dollop, like so. Get it all up in your palms. And you kind of rub it in a little bit. Start to sculpt as you go. If you want to define that part, now is the time to do it. Make sure it's kind of where you want it. We're going to make sure it gets a nice little hold in place.
Wow, you really go all in, huh?
And that's it. There you go. That's my morning hair ritual. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. A special thanks to Mike Drucker for making this happen. Mike, we miss you, and we want your body.
I don't know what I expected when Drucker requested it, but I
Right.
didn't expect it to be that good.
Really?
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
That was good. So now I have a quick question that will already
Sure.
be answered and evident to the people watching this. Are we going to show that in direct feed, or
I'm gonna direct.
Are you gonna,
I'm gonna fuck around with it a bit.
I don't think that we should show it. I think we should put a link to it, and we're gonna upload that video separately.
Really?
Yeah.
I still think we
might
should
wanna show it.
upload it separately.
Yeah.
But I think
Okay.
we should B-roll it here.
I think
too.
we should be rolling.
Okay, cool.
But for the audio version, yeah, sorry, you got to come watch that video.
so
it's
what,
on YouTube.com/kinda
what camera did you
funny.
use to film that?
With the iPhone.
You
That's
filmed
a
that because
great-
I was going to say it looks like you used our $8,000 camera.
No, I just used my iPhone. I was going to use
Or
my wife's new
$8,000
iPhone,
camera.
but she, quote, said, you'll get it all icky. So she would
tend
not
to
let
do
me
that.
use
So what is that then? A 5?
This is my 5S, yeah.
I thought the quality
Wow,
was
that was
quite,
really
quite
1080.
nice.
Yeah, it
They
films
just
nicely.
announced. They announced today that an episode of Modern Family is going to be shot entirely. I keep hitting this thing. Entirely on iPhone products or on
Really?
Apple products. So MacBooks,
iPads.
iPhones, and iPads.
I hope
You
people
can
are
do
filming
it. I mean,
Spike Lee's coming in to direct it with his iPad.
I wanted to actually test my wife's. My wife just got an iPhone 6, not the Plus. She got the regular 6. I wanted to test it and see if it's actually a better clarity versus this, but it ended up working out. You know, when you used to film with like the 4s, and it would give you that 956 by like
The weird ass
something
thing, yeah.
ass weird resolution. It was always disgusting. This actually turned out nicely.
It is nice. The 6 is way better.
You can't quite make out the hair on my shoulders because I was gonna have my wife nair me before I did it, and she was like, I thought you said "quote unquote" own. You're gonna own this, and I was like,
true.
all right, this is where I'm at. So if you look closely, you can see some. I needed to manscape a little bit more.
So
in
we've
that.
seen it now.
Yeah.
You heard it now.
Yeah,
Now we get to commentate on it.
sure.
It was very good.
Thank you.
you do use a lot of hairspray.
I do. I do. Well, here's the reason. I don't like the purple hairspray because it actually stays in your hair too much, and when you wake up the next day, it's still in it. That light Bumble hairspray, it actually goes away after a while. I can run my hand through my hair. I don't feel like it's a hair helmet.
Get stuck in
and then it gets kind of a little bit more volume in it. Not right now, but throughout the day, as you kind of keep rubbing your hand through your hair, that all that stuff kind of stays and gets a little more volume to it. But yeah, that's that.
Now come talk to me about the hair loss.
So yeah,
was there concern number one of admitting to using Rogaine or anything?
No, I mean
that's what I like to hear.
I mean the fact of the matter is I've talked about Propecia for a while. I don't know if I talked about it recently, but back in the day, I mean, my brother's bald, my dad's bald. So I started thinning, and I was like, man, I'm gonna ask my doctor if there's anything that he recommends, because I really don't want to lose my hair. It's kind of not great. And it still continues to thin, but the great part about the Propecia is it doesn't grow the hair back. It stops the thinning. It stops the actual hair loss. And my doctor was actually cool. I went to him and was like, hey, this Propecia is like $100 a month. Is there any, like, should I take it? And he goes, well, don't take that, but if you take finasteride, which is actually a pill that you take for prostate cancer, if you take a smaller dosage of it every day or every other day, and he gave me the correct dosage, and you have to cut the pills in half, but he's like, that is an actual generic version of it, and it's only like $10 a month. So for $10 plus I get like free refills.
And you fight cancer.
I don't know if you are or not.
You're double jeopardy. You can't get it.
Can't ever get I can't ever get any type of cancer now.
You got the antibodies.
Thanks largely to this. No, that's not correct at all. Yeah, and I don't know why. For some reason,
I heal people with your anti-cancer vision.
I'm fascinated by the concept of Rogaine, so I'm gonna try and use it. Again, it's only really supposed to be. It's only FDA approved for the back of your head, which is interesting.
So you're just going rogue, though. I love it.
Well, I read a bunch of reports that said they had to do these crazy clinical trials that cost a lot of money, so they only did it on one part. They just didn't waste any money on the front of the head.
Sure.
But everyone says that it
same
sort of
skin,
works.
same follicles.
But the concept behind Rogaine is that exactly it's the same skin, same follicles. Is that it's supposed to actually physically regrow the hair. So I'm just fascinated by it. I'm trying it for a couple months to see if I get anything. If I don't get anything, I'm not going to waste the money on it. But they also have another generic version that you can buy too, because it's like two simple ingredients, like water and like minoxidil 5, which is just, or 5% minoxidil, whatever this chemical is. So I'll probably downgrade to the generic version if I see an uptick in the old hairline, but we'll see.
Okay.
I've always been interested in your hair because you're very self-conscious about it, I feel. More so than you should be. Because your hair, I would describe with many adjectives, and they're all good.
Yeah, all positive.
All of them. Like, I would say you have awesome hair.
Thank you.
It is amazing hair.
The thing about it is this, though, and this is why, Greg, when you asked me to do this video, I was like, should I show the full shebang, the whole thing? And I think it's important just because if you notice that you are having signs of hair loss, and this happened, I started like looking at my hair and thinking it was thinning right around the time I was like 24, 25. Go to your doctor and ask him if there's anything you can do about it, and he might recommend some of these products. And I think Propecia works. I think at least it stops the hair. But again, the hair loss. Again, it's not 100% in everyone. Everyone has different. There are some side effects, so make sure you talk to your doctor. One of the side effects that it says when you read online is a loss of sex drive, which I have not found to be the case. As my wife will
your
tell
wife's
you.
like begging, praying every night that kicks in.
She would like me to stop pawing at her like a stray dog.
Humping the furniture.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, I think it's just important that everyone kind of sees this. As far as my hair is concerned, yeah, I mean, it used to be thicker. If you look at that picture I tweeted out when I was a drum major, you can see I had a ridiculously good, like, deep widow's peak, and the hairline was just so thick, and it's just not that thick anymore. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get it back, or at least some of it back.
Hold on, I'm putting down the drum major photo I need to insert.
What's also interesting is your beard. Like, I feel like a lot of you have probably the most full beard I've ever seen.
Yes.
Thank God for that. But you know how it always goes when you start losing it up top, you start growing it on the bottom. So from literally the chin down, I am just a Sasquatch.
If it ever comes to the point of giving in at Halloween, let's go as Max Payne 3.
I could do that.
Max Payne 3.
Or I might just go as John McClane from Die Hard 4.
Well, no, but did he have a beard in that?
Yeah, no, he just he shaved his head.
Max Payne has the beard like you have, and then
cool.
Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about the phases of your hair, though.
Sure.
Because there's a very clear line in the sand when you go back and look at old IGN videos, or you look at old photos from us being friends or whatever, and then there was this point where you jumped, and where you went from being, I don't know, fat Vin Diesel to being like,
my God,
well put together Nick Scarpino now. Nick Scarpino now has his shit together. He's a lady killer. He looks amazing. And then just when fat Vin Diesel was just
Greg.
he was a heavier guy in a tracksuit with a shaved head.
Yeah, there was
no beard.
I started at IGN and I was like, I think I was about 213 pounds, and I'm only 5'8". So that's a squatty looking human being right there. When you're pushing 200 lbs or above, and you're not 6 foot and some change, you're not feeling good about yourself. And I just started watching my diet, started working out a little bit more
When
frequently.
did this start?
This started right around maybe like the first year. Well, IGN, whenever you start working at IGN, you always gain the IGN 15, like the freshman 15. Did you guys go through that at all?
No,
Remember in the
I
old
gained the
offices
IGN
when
like
everything was a
40.
quarter?
Yeah.
And you could I used to eat like 3 packets of Pop-Tarts a day.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that-
I'm hungry. I'm going to snack. I'm going to fucking 2 Pop-Tarts. Throw those in. Oh, there's strawberry. I haven't had one of those in a while. Throw that bad boy in. But yeah, I actually got some free fitness training from 24 Hour Fitness where I go to the gym, and they were like, hey, we're offering like three like personal training sessions if you guys want them for free. And I was like, sure, I'll try them. And the guy was really bad, so I didn't go after 3, but he recommended an awesome thing to do, which was you download an app called MyFitnessPal. And there's multiple apps like this, but this one's free. And all you do is you log your food. And he goes, I just want you to log your food. Don't change how you eat. Don't worry about anything. Because I thought I ate pretty healthily. And he's like, just don't worry about it. Just log your food, and we'll come after a couple weeks and we'll look at it. And it turned out that I was eating probably about 1,500 calories, maybe 1,000 calories a day that I didn't need. Not that it was necessarily bad food. It was just calories that weren't, it wasn't lean proteins. It wasn't vegetables. It was just some extra stuff that I was thrown down the old gullet. And anyone will tell you need a calorie deficit of, I think it's like 3,500 calories a week in order to lose a single pound. So I was like, all right, I'll give that a shot. And slowly but surely, I mean, it wasn't that hard. It was like, you shave off a couple hundred calories or, 300-400 calories a day, which is really just a couple Cokes or a couple pieces of candy or whatever.
Not into it.
And I started losing weight, and I got down, and now I'm at about 180. And my goal weight is really 175, 170, but with a little bit of muscle on me. We were talking to Courtney last night, who is my personal trainer, who lives in New Zealand. Never met him.
This is in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, he was in the Twitch chat. He's coming out in March. I'm excited.
And I was like, some woman named Courtney says
No,
she sent you this, and you're like, what? And then you had to read it. You're like, oh no, that's my personal trainer.
No, he's cool. He reached out because he heard me talking about my struggles with weight loss and just staying fit in general.
I think you look great.
Thank you. But it's hard, right? Like every day
Well, I
we
wouldn't
come here,
know, but no.
mustering the energy to do anything other than this job.
That's true. That's true.
And so he was kind enough to reach out and say, hey, I'll put, how many days can you work out? I said 2, and he goes, okay, well, here's a couple of exercises you can do. Here's some routines you can do for those 2 days of workout. And then he's like, are you doing the paleo diet? So I'm like, kind of. And by that, I mean, not really, considering I'm, cannonballing all sorts of caffeinated beverages and occasionally just hiding some sweets behind my teeth. In my throat.
I just love it when you get going. This is what we're talking about. Nick gets going. He's doing everything fine, and then he just doesn't know where he's about to go. So he's just like hiding sweets in my teeth.
Right.
Everybody's like, what?
So yeah, I'm just getting back into working out. I've just started sort of following his guidance, and it's working. And I started doing, like I was telling Tim the other day, I started doing yoga again with my wife just to increase flexibility.
Yeah.
Yoga is really hard, and it's really, really rewarding though. You just feel great afterward.
Yoga flame.
What's that?
You can teleport and shoot fire.
Yoga.
You can. If you actually
yoga
get up to the
fire.
higher levels of it, you can get cool like face paint tattoos and just start shooting fire and like teleport all the way.
So here's the
Your arms
question
get
though.
long.
In between Vin Diesel look,
Yeah.
Nick Scarpino look, was it a definitive thing of like I'm gonna lose some weight, I'm gonna do all this stuff, and I'm gonna grow my hair out and grow a beard?
The beard came, as I think you'll probably find in a lot of people that have beards. Colin can probably attest to this. Tim can probably attest to this. From sheer laziness.
Yep, that's 100% true.
You just, at a certain point, it grows out, and it's too hard to shave, because at a certain point, it gets too long. You have to trim it first before you shave it. And I got to the point where I was like, I hate shaving. And I hate specifically shaving my neck because I have very sensitive skin on my neck and it always gets razor burn. Dude. So with the beard, you can go an extra week without having to shave. And I shave this once a week, and the rest of it grows out. And then eventually it grows out to what I call the Colombian drug dealer look, where it's so bushy that you just can't even, you can barely see my eyes behind it. So I can kind of hide behind it in a movie theater. And my wife hates it. And that's when I know it's time to kind of trim it up a little bit. But also it's very in vogue. Like a lot of people have beards now. Magazines are writing about it. It's very in vogue. You've got people, I think it's called the lumberjack or the lumbersexual.
Called the lumberjack.
Lumbersexual.
The lumbersexual. That's what I meant. Or I guess the newest one is the urban nomad, where you just kind of look like you've been camping out, but in the city for the last 6 months, and you can go anywhere, and you have a cool backpack that it doesn't latch, it ties shut.
You've been on a shaman's quest to develop your new app.
Yes, I'm trying to be
You've been going through so much. I'm
trying to be
tenderloin.
trying to be the Sherpa of online video.
I want you to have a man bun.
A man bun.
I
don't think I can do it.
Please
But
don't
the
do
problem
the
is
man bun.
my hair it's a little too long, so now it's a little floppy. And it's not. It's a
I
little
love
bit
it when
thicker.
It flops though.
Yeah.
I got to get it cut a little bit.
It adds character.
I got to get it cut. But yeah, that's where I was at. It's just been a slow and steady weight loss progression for me. If you're trying to lose weight, the best way to do it is really just diet and exercise. There's no really ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to just watch what you're eating and make sure you work out 2 to 3 times a week, and you'll lose weight. You will.
That was good.
Thanks.
Anything else to say about the hair or the commentary on anything?
No, I think Nick's very well put together. It's
He's
funny
a
'cause
very
I've known
good
Nick for a
looking
really long time, and like I picture and think about Nick back in the day, and it's just a different Nick. Like
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah,
along
yeah.
the line, like the Nick that I used to know doesn't exist anymore.
I think
He exists inside of him,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
I think it's one of those things where like a lot of people talk shit, and myself included, about marriage. I always joke about it, where I always tell Tim to stay single for as long as humanly possible because marriage sucks the soul, and you're willing to live out right through your ass. But
It sucks it through your ass?
just that's how
I
it
kind of
feels.
that sounds hot.
I give marriage
I'll get in that
I give
ass.
marriage a lot of grief, but I really like being married. And one of the benefits of having a full-time sort of live-in significant other is that they tell you when it's time to do stuff. Like they tell you when it's like, hey, those
need to poop
jeans
now.
you've had since college, you should throw out. And also that faux hawk that you're rocking is no longer in
Stop.
vogue. You should
you have
go
a faux
ask.
hawk?
I used to have a faux. Everyone had a faux hawk back in the day. Yeah, I used to have a faux hawk. Well, I had with the makings of a faux hawk. If I had more hair, it would have been a faux hawk. It looked more like just a little, like
faux.
little spike that wasn't up there, and the
one
rest of it was
little
just kind of mess. But yeah, my wife really kind of watches it, and she keeps a keen eye on when my shirts are getting a little ratty or when it's time to stop wearing the Wolverine shirt.
I was going to say, how much does she hate this Wolverine shirt? Your
She
happy
doesn't
shirt.
like it.
You have to hide under a floorboard when she leaves. You pull it out, wear it, run to our house.
I'm pretty sure this is the last wear, so I
Oh,
have to.
no.
I'm gonna get like 2 or 3 days and more out of it, and then she's gonna
Oh my
yank it
God.
out of it. It'll just become a workout shirt eventually,
Yeah.
and then
It's
I'll
Wolverine,
sneak
it'll
it out of the
heal
workout.
itself.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
true.
Yep.
But no, that's part of the reason is I met my wife about seven years ago, and we've had that sort of honest discussion back and forth. And for her as well. We've worked out together. We go for walks together. We try to eat a little bit better. We are each other's sort of inspirations as far as that is concerned. So I'm going shopping for her tonight because she's starting a new diet where she wants to kind of slim down a little bit. It's all protein, so I got to go to Trader Joe's and get all that stuff for her. And she does the same for me. But it really does help having someone else that's kind of a cheerleader in your corner. It's hard to do anything by yourself, which is why you all need friends or significant others.
Get them friends, y'all.
Get them
Yeah.
damn good friends.
Highly
good
recommended.
friends.
Okay.
Positive
I just want
influences.
to say the only thing I learned from your hair routine is that I wasn't self-conscious of my hair because I like my hair, but I was always like, what is it like to have hair that you have to do something to? Because I've never had I have no choices with my hair. I have no choices. Like it's either like I have to cut it, I have to shave it.
No,
it
see,
has
that's
to
the
be
thing.
like
You think that, but then you do. Like, because I was in the same boat as you for a long time, where when I was younger, I had just had long hair. Like, I did the Sean Hunter, obviously. And then eventually,
What's the Sean
I
Hunter?
would try to...
Like a butt cut, but it
Oh, I
comes
see.
down and hangs over his ears and stuff.
So you would do that. But then eventually I started spiking because all my friends were Asian kids, and that's what they all did. And so I thought I was one of them. So I did that for a long time, which was just putting gel in it, which you could do too. It
Yeah,
didn't
but
look
I
good. It just happened. But then I went to this for what Nick calls my hip hop phase. And that
You
was
ready for me, hip-hop?
That was for a long, long time that I did that, and I was just like, I just can't do anything. Like when I grow it out, it's just fluff, and it doesn't look good, and like it's just really bad. But then I was like, oh, if I just fucking do this shit, this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a
I just don't know. I mean, Greg, I think knows better than anyone. Like, I just feel like my hair is in a spot where it's just all fucked up.
You gotta
like it is just.
He does have a
it
different
is
texture of
thick,
hair.
It is just thick afro, like Brillo.
Here,
like it just
exactly.
doesn't. There's nothing to be done.
Yeah.
Here right now,
You know,
it just
like-
feels like a shaved head. But like if he lets it grow it out to where I like it, where it was right before this, and you feel it, it feels like a Brillo pad, and it feels like
It looks
it's-
like Velcro.
It's
kinda.
Corey Matthews' hair.
Yeah.
And what can Corey Matthews? What can Ben Savage do with his
And
hair?
it's
Ben
just a
Savage has had the
complicated
same
thing.
hair forever.
It's just a complicated thing. But regardless, I'm sure there's an option. I'm sure that there's somewhere out there someone has. I can go on some sort
I
of
think
spirit quest.
if you went to a stylist or you can go to my person that I go see named Masha. She's my Russian stylist, exorbitantly expensive, so I'm probably not going to go to her for much
You
longer.
just talked yourself out of Colin over.
I bet if you went to a stylist or a barber and you grew your hair out, they would tell you grow your hair out, and you have to get past that transitional phase. But once it's long enough, you might be able to do more of a traditional like man's barber cut. Like that's very popular now, which is the barber cut of like having the Don Draper style, where you have the hair.
Oh yeah, I have no prayer of that. Greg, make sure to bring up the picture of me when I did grow out my hair.
The one where you're like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I did cut my hair for like literally almost a year. Yeah, it's just, but regardless, it's like the same thing I think about with women every once in a while, where it's like they have to, or they don't have to, but a lot of women get ready and they put on makeup and they prepare whatever, and I'm just like, whatever, I just like cut my hair, whatever. I think I clean up okay, but the one thing I was noticing is that I think I might be starting to lose my hairline a little bit.
You're not. You got a great hairline. You're
I
fine.
hope it's solid, because here's the thing. My dad is balding. He's,
Yeah.
he's older. But the rumor, at least the wives' tale, was always that you get your hair from your mother's dad.
Yeah.
So, and my mom's dad, I absolutely have his hair, and even when he had cancer, was getting chemo, like had a full head of hair. So I was like, I'm like, this is just weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And I think my hair situation is going to be okay.
I think you're going to be okay. Although I will say that that old wife still doesn't hold true, because my mother's dad, my Italian grandfather, my mother was adopted, so I have to remember which dad. But her actual biological father had a great full head of hair, and my brother is bald, and so is my dad. So I think I got that gene from him, because I have like my Uncle Vince's hairline where it's like super receded, but
they call him Vinny?
thick. They do call him Vinny.
Hey, Vinny!
They call him Vin.
My God. You have an
Oh!
Uncle Vinny?
Yeah, he's an ex-cop.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he used to be a cop.
Oh!
Colin,
Yes.
what's your topic?
So on Patreon, for our Patreon supporters, we thank you and appreciate you very much. I thought it would be fun to solicit information from them about what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and also kind of just get general details of who the hell these people are, because I'm really curious about the demographics of our Patreon supporters, and if there's any themes or anything that we can work towards fixing or continue to do and whatnot. So we put out a survey for our Patreon supporters that was live for 4 days last month, and I guess it was actually earlier this month, and so February.
Yeah.
And I had there's some interesting things that I want to share with you guys, because you guys don't. I've actually been staring at this thing like it's the Matrix for like the last 2 weeks, but you guys have not seen any of it. So I thought I'd share some of this information with you. And this is specifically only going to be the kind of numeric field question. So like, things that you can select. In other words, no essay questions, because there are essay questions. We'll go into that later.
We're doing it as an exclusive episode, aren't we?
Yes, Patreon exclusive episode will be going into all that. But
Friday the 26th.
But I'm going to bring up my gigantic
That's when we're
laptop.
recording it, right?
No, you're
This
recording
one's
it on
going live?
Thursday.
Oh, you're right.
That's
All
the
right.
point.
Cool. Yes.
Jerk off.
So I'm bringing up my gigantic laptop.
No
here.
problem. Friday the
That's gonna cover
27th, if you're a Patreon subscriber, if you give us $1 or more, there'll be an exclusive GameOverGreggy show up. That will be the essay answers. Mm-hmm. This numerical answers.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to share with you guys was the gender of our audience. And this, but by the way, I should preface this by saying this is just Patreon supporters, and specifically Patreon supporters that decided to answer.
Haphazard survey.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not.
Because it's the goal was like it was a volunteer or whatever.
Yeah, it's not. There's nothing. Well, it's somewhat scientific, but I don't know what the I don't know.
It wasn't a random sample of Patreon users. It was
the political science person is coming out a little bit. So gender, not surprisingly, overwhelmingly male. We do have a female listenership, but our male listenership it creates about 98% of our Patreon.
Oh wow,
98%.
Yeah, according to this. Now not every Patreon supporter answered. But 98% of those that answered were male.
Interesting.
How old are you? This is an interesting thing I thought too.
Should we guess?
If you want to guess,
what's the
preponderance of people? All right, so the fields are this:
I'm not looking.
18 or under,
Okay.
or under 18, so 17 and under. 18 to 21, 22 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 plus.
I say 22 to 30 is the overwhelming.
Yeah, and that also is because that's the biggest field as well. But yeah, 1,000
It's
out
also
of
the coolest field.
out of 1,850 people, 1,038 of them are between 22 and 30. So under 18 is about 4.5% of our audience, according to this poll.
Nice.
18 to 21 is 22.9%, and then 22 to 30 is 57.3%. 14.4% for 31 to 40, and a small number. Let me see if I can click on it here because it doesn't show up in the field. Yeah, wow, it's small. 41 plus is very small. Let me see if I can find it here. 0.9%. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Skewing a little bit older than I thought. Actually, I don't know how you guys feel.
You
about
thought it was gonna be what? You thought that
I don't know, like 18.
That's actually pretty close. I'm looking at the statistics we have on YouTube, and that's pretty on par with our audience on YouTube, which is a much bigger audience, obviously. But I think we have the bulk of our audience on YouTube, I think, is between 18 and 24, though. I think that might be the difference, because we get like a vast percentile of people in that range.
Yeah, I think that's the key demographic.
Yeah.
For if you're an advertiser or whatever.
Right.
Country that you reside in. Thought this was interesting too.
Please say it's not 100% UK, otherwise they're all going to hate Greg.
No.
Here we go.
USA.
We
So
love the UK.
63.7% of respondents live in the United States. Not surprising. Canada is 10.9%, and then right underneath that is the UK at 10.8%. And And then you have Australia at 4.8%, but 9.9% come from other countries. And I went into I went in and looked at every one of the write-in fields to figure out which countries were dominant in that other field, because I thought this was really interesting. There are 2 countries in particular that stand out. I'm curious if you guys can guess which 2 countries they are.
New Zealand.
Yes, that's one of them.
Bam.
The other one, anyone?
Japan.
Germany.
Norway.
Germany's up there. Norway's up there too. Ireland.
Ireland.
So 26 respondents come from New Zealand, 20 come from Ireland, 14 from Germany, 13 from Norway, 10 from Mexico, 10 from Sweden, and then you go down. 51 countries responded in the survey. 51 countries. United Arab Emirates had someone. Trinidad and Tobago had someone respond. Luxembourg, Hong Kong, Czech Republic, Egypt. A couple people from Russia, a couple people from Puerto Rico. This was the one thing I struggled with. The United States technically owns Puerto Rico, but they are sovereign right now, so I counted that as separate, and they wrote it in as separate. So 2 from Puerto Rico.
Gotcha.
Some Polish guys, some Colombians, Argentinians, Danish, a lot of different people. 51 countries, Israel, etc. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's
so
awesome.
we reach many a country.
Worldwide. Mr. Worldwides. That's all 4
We are
of us.
worldwide.
We're like
Now-
The legend of Freak Nasty
Yeah.
spreading to all corners of the globe.
Now
Tim,
this
Tim, can we call ourselves worldwide internet stars?
not yet.
Okay.
No, we haven't hit all of the places.
Okay.
Now this I thought was an interesting question. And this is what I didn't. This is not what I expected to get for this particular question. I asked if the subscriber was from kind of funny games or both. How many people, percentage-wise, do you think subscribe to both Patreons?
I think it's a pretty high percentage if I had to guess.
I would
maybe
say-
90.
Really?
Jesus, really? I'm gonna say 43.
Yeah, I think 40.
67.6% of people that
Wow.
were in the
Thank
survey
you.
subscribe to both Patreons.
That's awesome,
Wow.
guys.
The original Patreon, Kind of Funny, has 12.6% only subscribe to that, and then 19.7% subscribe to Kind of Funny games. So even if you combine them together, the preponderance of people that answered the survey subscribe to both.
Sorry, what?
We
Preponderance.
the preponderance.
The preponderance.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
So
Big word.
so
Big people.
2 out of 3 people that subscribe to us on Patreon, according to this survey, subscribe to both Patreons, and for that we thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks for filling out the survey too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. A lot of people wrote to me and said they had fun answering it, which I do appreciate.
Everybody loved the last question.
Yeah, the last question is from Nick, and we'll go into that in a minute. This question was, how long have you been consuming Kind of Funny content? And the fields there were 6-month fields, with the exception of the first field, which, because we started, the first episode of Conversation with Colin went live August 2012. So I did August 2012 to December 2012, and then January, June, July, December for all the other years. So there are 5 of those choices, and then since 2015. What I found was that the biggest portion of those people, 36.1%, have been with us since the beginning.
Damn.
Ride
Which again, we
or
appreciate.
die.
668 respondents.
It's about family, Colin.
The fewest number of people,
It's not about ants. It's about family.
It's about family.
10.4% of the people, which is the fewest in terms of the fields answered out of those 6 options, have been with us only this year.
Since we went rogue.
Yeah, so we have a long-time loyal audience.
That's cool though. That 10%. That's bigger than I thought it would be for the last 2 months.
And here's what's even more interesting to me, is that the number goes down the further away you get from the founding, which means that we've actually had a lot of people with us for longer periods of time. 273 with us since January to June of 2013, and then 274 from July to December of 2013. And then 238 and 205 from Q1 and Q2 to Q3 and Q4, if that makes any sense, 2014.
yeah,
So the numbers get lower, which means we've had a lot of people since the very beginning that support us on Patreon. So again, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Now these are technically this. I'm gonna get ahead of myself. The next question after this is technically.
I really
invalid.
wish you were wearing a lab coat. That's the only way this could be better.
I asked the audience which is their favorite Kind of Funny show. Every show we do, including the ones on Twitch, are on there. So a conversation with Colin and Greg live, Follow the Leader, Kind of Funny Gamescast, Kind of Funny Plays, Kind of Funny Reacts, Kind of Funny Streams, which would be our streaming content on that's not Colin and Greg live on Twitch. Kind of Funny Unboxings, Oreo Oration, special one-offs. So that would be like 100 pence signs, the Monopoly tournament, and stuff like that. And then the GameOverGreggy show. Any guesses on which our most popular show is? And it's overwhelming.
Conversation with Colin.
No.
GameOverGreggy show.
Yes.
Really?
This show.
This show.
This show.
This show.
45.6% of respondents say that this is their favorite show that we do. 844 out of 1,850 say that this is their favorite show.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And so there are really only 4 shows that stick out in terms of the ones that got lots of votes.
Yeah. So number 1's GameOverGreggy show.
Yep. Number 2, does anyone have a guess?
It's got to be Conversation with Colin.
No.
Fucking A, really? Oration.
Or Let's Plays.
Oh, Greg Way, of course. The runaway.
Oh yeah, Greg Way's not on here. But that's
was
a cancel show.
Yeah, it was just we do that in a million other
The
ways.
one-offs, the special ones?
No.
I don't think that'll get that many votes.
Colin and Greg Live is our second most popular.
Yeah, that makes sense.
433 respondents, or 23.4%, say that Colin and Greg Live is their favorite show. Then you get to Kind of Funny Gamescast, which is a new and embryonic almost show that Tim hosts. That's the third most popular show. That's at 12.1%.
Where the fuck's Conversation with Colin?
Conversation with Colin is number 4.
Okay.
11%, 204 respondents say that is their favorite show. And then the drop off is pretty significant from
What's
there.
the least favorite show?
Well, we're gonna get to that
Unboxing?
because there is a least favorite Kind of Funny shows field, and I think that question is technically invalid. Every
It's the exact same.
unboxing's got the fewest amount of votes with 4. Reacts got 5. Special one-ups got 5, and then everything kind of bumps up from there. Follow the leader 14. So, but again, this is just asking you what your favorite is. Doesn't mean you don't like the other one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This was the major problem with the next question, and a lot of people brought up that this is technically an invalid question because I didn't give them an option to say none of the above. Which would have made me throw out the thing. But what I was saying, so this next question is, what is your least favorite Kind of Funny show?
Okay.
And I got multiple tweets, like lots of them, to both at Kind of Funny Vids and to me at No Taxation saying, but I don't want to vote for any of them. And I'm like, but I have a least favorite 311 record.
I was gonna say,
even if I like I
think it's
like the
invalid.
311 whole catalog, I do have a least favorite album.
I love
I'll still
all of
listen to
you,
it.
but there's a least favorite.
Exactly.
Of you,
It all
obviously.
makes sense.
Is it Tim?
Please forgive me.
It's Tim. It's Colin.
So the least, does anyone have a guess on what our least favorite, our least popular show
I
is
would
according
assume
to this
it's
field?
unboxings, just because there's
No.
not many of them.
Not many people. Well,
Or streams.
Follow the
Kind
leader.
of funny streams.
Yeah,
Follow
that
the
makes
Leader
sense.
is the least popular
Oh.
show. 32.5% say it's their least favorite Kind of Funny show.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's a departure from what we normally talk about, and that's to be expected, probably.
There's something interesting about all these stats when it comes to the favorite and least favorite is really it kind of boils down to how many of them exist and how often we put them out. GameOverGreggy show and Colin and Greg Live, those are daily things. Gamescast. Daily. I'm choking on something.
why are you gonna vomit?
I don't know.
Tim, don't
Some
vomit.
freaking,
Are you
He's
allergic
so
to
passionate
stats?
about it.
some shit. And conversation with Colin, something that blew my mind recently was like I noticed there's over 100 episodes of that show. So it's like just by sheer numbers, it's like it's going to be a lot of people's favorite because we've done so much of them. And like same with Gameovergreggy, which with breakouts at this point there's hundreds. Gamescast, there'll be 100 soon, which is crazy.
Wow.
Nuts.
Because there's 4, technically 5 a week with the full episodes.
4, sometimes 5.
So once we hit episode 25.
Yeah. It's gonna be nuts.
What I thought, I mean, I appreciate what people were saying about not giving them an option, but I wanted to know, like, if you had to answer this,
Right.
how would you answer? And so that was, and you know, to be fair, I was just curious about this. I didn't expect it to be Follow the Leader. I knew Follow the Leader would be one of the least popular ones, but I will be honest, we're doing more Follow the Leader, and I think that.
Well, again, least favorite just means it's like
Exactly, but I think that Follow the Leader performed okay, but I think that some of the episodes, like Old Fashioned one, for instance, which is a drink a lot of people are interested in, this particular show, is well above the mean in terms of average views of a show we do. So I think we just have to do better about promoting them, and we kind of were learning along with Eric about what that show is going to be, and I think the second season is going to be much better. But the other show, do you guys have any? So Unboxing's number 2, 336 people responded. That's 18.2% saying that was their least favorite. But again, this is like it's a weird question. I don't know if I wanted to share this data, but I'm not sure that this question is really useful because who the fuck goes on YouTube and says like I want to watch an unboxing video, right? Like, I don't really feel like you look for them unless something is out there that you want to see unboxed. In other words, if we did 25 unboxings, would you watch all of them? You know, as a series?
Yeah.
I don't think so. So I'm not sure the validity of this particular question.
Right.
I feel like
Just be
Reacts
honest.
would be another one that's low there, but that's just because, especially once this survey was made, there was only a handful of Reacts videos even up. But if you look at the data on the Reacts videos that we've made even since then, and even before then, like they all outperform pretty much everything else we do. I think Reacts is going to be one of those things, especially like a year from now, people are going to like it a lot, but they're still not going to say it's their favorite because of what you're saying.
Yeah, they like the 50 Shades of Grey one, but they didn't watch any of the other ones.
Yeah,
so they
like
only think
Reacts
about
isn't
it.
their thing, but like people are still going to stick to the Game Over Greggy show or whatever it is.
It's complex. I mean, like from there, so Unboxing Oration is the third least favorite show according to this post, but again, it doesn't add up, right?
Right.
It's like you said, it's about those things that you're looking for because we're going to continue to do Oration too. What's interesting to me is that the numbers for favorite and least favorite don't necessarily jive. And what I mean by that is, for instance, we were talking about how Game Over Greggy show is by far the most popular show. But when you talk about the least popular show, 35%, so 35 people, which is like a minute amount of people out of 1,850 said it was their least favorite. The show that did best on least favorite is Conversation with Colin, which is exactly what you thought would be on the other one.
Right.
So there's like somewhere in the middle. I think it's just the top 3 shows or whatever that people enjoy. and we continue to give them to them. So I thought this was interesting data, but I'm not necessarily sure of the validity of this question.
Well, again, like you said to lead off, least favorite doesn't mean you don't like it.
Exactly. Exactly. And we and people were loud and clear about that. But we asked the question, so I wanted to share the data. Where or how do you consume our content? This is the first question where people can answer in multiple ways. And I talked to Tim about this question before I put it up because there's really only 3 ways to get our content: YouTube, Twitch, podcasts. Right. And I put other, and I wasn't. I don't think that I wonder if I made people even fill the field.
97% said other, and we're like, what does that mean?
Yeah, and I'm curious like what that means. And I'm going into the data
Hilarious.
now. Like basically, it doesn't matter because not a lot of people said other. 256 people said other, or 256 answers said other, because you can have multiple answers here. But 37.8% of our audience gets our content on YouTube. So 1,782. So about one. This is interesting because about 1 in 3, and then 1 in 3 get it on Twitch, 32.3%, and then a little less than 1 in 3 get it in podcast form, 24.4%. So it seems like it's spread out pretty evenly, except for the fact that our podcast numbers seem to indicate that a lot of people listen to those podcasts. But when you're on a Patreon supporter, it seems like you're more in depth into the day-to-day kind of shit, which would bring you to YouTube.
Well, no, see, that's interesting. I would feel like the Patreon people are most with the audio stuff for the podcast. Like the numbers on Patreon are much higher for people that are able to get the audio than are able to get the video.
Yeah, video numbers are never super crazy.
Yeah, like
there's like what you figure it's open up to like. We'll say there's 4,000 patrons. You figure I would say the
1,000 of them can get the video.
Is that really the number?
Yeah,
I thought it would be more than that.
No.
All right, then I apologize, and I will.
And I think like 2,000 can get the audio.
Nick's had enough. Nick doesn't respect you.
I do respect. I need another. I need some caffeine. That live stream just caught up with me last night.
Can you get me a coffee too?
Hey, you want a coffee?
Yeah.
Does anyone else want a coffee?
No, I'm fine. Thank
I'm
you.
fine.
I think that
I'd
like
to do a show. Oh, yeah.
700 people about a week listen to the podcast early, audio wise.
Yeah, but video wise, it's like 300.
Video
or
wise, it
400.
was like 300
Yeah,
or less.
yeah.
So that's interesting to me. But what's really interesting to me is Twitch, because we don't really offer anything Twitch exclusive on Patreon. So the fact that
and we'd love to.
It's just hard.
How do you do that? Because there's no way for us to get Twitch and Patreon to split rev and do all this different stuff.
Yeah. Like, trust us, we're working on stuff. We're trying, but I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
But 1/3 of the people on Patreon say they consume us through Twitch. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting.
32.3%. 1,524 respondents say that. So pretty interesting numbers there. Social media platforms, what if any do you follow us on? Dominant Twitter numbers, 52.1% follow us on Twitter. And again, you can answer more than one. 822 on Facebook, 529 on Instagram. So that breaks down to 52.1% Twitter, 25.9% Facebook, 16.7% Instagram, and then 5.3% say other, but I'm not sure exactly what that means because we are not anywhere else.
Google Plus,
but I don't even do anything there. Do you?
But they count. Yeah, I do Google Plus.
Okay.
So maybe that's
what it is.
I have 2 million followers or whatever now.
But those numbers don't mean anything over there. I'm really interested with Google Plus. Like, I don't understand. That's the one of those rare things Google tried to shove everyone down everyone's throat, and they're like, no. Like
we don't want this.
Yeah, it's so weird.
One day it's gonna click.
I don't know.
One day they're gonna do something and it'll make sense. Like people need to use it. The phone.
See.
Next question, and I'll blaze through the rest of these.
Google Fiber.
How do you find new kind of funny content? And again, multiple answers are allowed. And this is not surprising for us. It's a pretty even split between YouTube and Patreon. YouTube is the highest at 29.6%, and then Patreon is at 27.9%. So when new content goes up, people are finding it either through their YouTube feed or via postings on Patreon.
Which we're terrible
What
at.
are the other options?
Twitter is the next one at 23.1%.
Interesting.
And then it falls down significantly. Podcast service, kind of amorphous podcast service, is 8.7%. And then it falls down from there to Facebook, 5.2%. Our Facebook community is not huge, the one that we own, but our Facebook community that is run by the fans is actually way bigger, or way more active, I should say.
So active.
And what I've learned from posting on Facebook is that videos don't do well there. Pictures do really well there. Whenever you post a picture of
People love that
anything,
shit,
it's just like it does like literally
it takes
3
up
or
so
4
much
times
real
more.
estate.
It's just weird.
Beautiful.
Google, 74 people have responded that they get it through Google, which is a minute amount. And then other 204. So I mean, I'll have to go into the stats to see what that means.
What's interesting to me about that is Twitter. Like, I feel like for me, I consume most of my content through Twitter.
Yeah, me too.
You click on links,
For
you see
everybody
somebody
else.
do
If
something.
someone posts some stuff. So I'm surprised that number's not higher. And I'm surprised that the Patreon's higher than that. But I guess they get emails.
Yeah, it could be that. I mean, they're
Yeah.
pretty even, and they're like within the margin of error of each other. So it really is like YouTube and Patreon.
We have to figure out a way to serve Patreon better in terms of getting stuff up there. because it's just we're all moving in so many directions. Like kids have spoken out that they don't want the daily breakouts on there because like they've already got the early episode, most of them, so that doesn't make sense for them. But then like we put up a Let's Play every day, and we put up a Colin and Greg live every day, and it's like I try to get that over to Patreon, but it's like spinning so many other plates that we can't do it.
I mean, just weekly recaps might be the best thing to do. We've talked about that before.
But if we want to drive videos, if people are using it so much, right, to get it, it'd be nice to drive them to that content on a daily basis too. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe when we get more help.
Yeah.
All right, 3 more questions, and these are all heartening questions, I think, for all of us that I want to go through today. And I asked the audience, as a Patreon supporter, do you feel that you receive your money's worth with your subscription to Kind of Funny Games, or both? 97.9% of respondents say yes.
97%.
Yeah, 97.9.
That's awesome.
So 2.1% say no. So it's 1,812 to 38. I'm gonna go more in, like, we have to go into the questions about what we're doing right and wrong, which we're not gonna go through here. We'll go through on our Patreon exclusive episode. But
Friday.
But I wonder,
February 27th.
I wonder why these people don't think they're getting their money's worth, and I think that's a totally valid answer.
Yeah, no, we want to fix that. We want we want 100% to feel like they're getting their money.
But none of that 97.9% approval rating for someone that people that are paying you is extraordinarily high, even for very successful companies. So
you're saying we're the new Coke?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Coke would kill for a 98% approval rating. So nonetheless, I thought that was interesting. And then the 2 final questions that we'll go through today. These are even better for us, I think, and are pretty good. Do you intend on supporting Kind of Funny and or Kind of Funny Games on Patreon in the future? 99.8% say yes.
99.8.
Yeah. 1,846 to 4.
4 people.
Yep.
Man.
4
Can we
respondents
find
say
out
they
who
will.
those 4 people are?
We could.
We'll go to their house.
No, just talk
Actually,
to
it was
them.
totally.
I don't mean it in a bad way. I go to their house and like convince them to.
Actually, the data was garnered intentionally, totally anonymously, so I can't even track any of it unless they signed it. Because on Survey Planet you can have it where they have to sign it with emails and stuff. And I was like, that's stupid. I want people to be able to be honest. And I feel like there's gonna be like, we're gonna find them or something.
Or make jokes about them.
Exactly right. So 1,846 to 4.
Man.
Do you intend on supporting Kind of Funny and Kind of Funny Games on Patreon in the future? 99.8%. And then finally, would you recommend Kind of Funny and or Kind of Funny Games to a friend? 98.8% say yes. 1,828 to 22. So that's the data I found so far. Now, there's going to be other fields, and we'll go through them. Other feedback you'd like to leave was one question. What shows, if any, would you remove from the repertoire or add to the repertoire? 2 other questions that are really interesting. And what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong?
Thank you.
So we'll go into those on the Patreon exclusive Kind of Funny. But I wanted to share that data with you guys. And what I thought was fun is that you guys had never seen that data. So
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was cool.
Thank you again for everyone filling that out.
Yeah.
Everybody, of course, supporting us on Patreon, doing all that awesome stuff. I'm excited to do the part 2 on Friday. This isn't a plug for it, but to actually hear, like, in their own words, what's working, what's not working, what they want, what they don't want.
yeah, there's a lot. Well, I'll tell you guys, there's themes. To
Yeah.
what people are saying, and I think that, and both in right and both in wrong, what they want, what they think we should stop doing. A lot of people, for instance, and just to tease it, like when I say like, what are we doing wrong? Most of the response say nothing.
Yeah. But things they
But there are things. Yeah. What would you change? There's a lot of things to do with Colin and Greg Live and other things that we have to.
I was gonna say, I imagine it's just, as somebody who goes on our Patreon wall every day, I imagine it's going to be, why isn't Colin and Greg Live on iTunes? Why isn't it on YouTube?
And these are things we have to talk about and figure out, because that's definitely one of the issues. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was enlightening. Get some hard data about our Patreon supporters specifically, which I think you could kind of sprinkle out in some respect, maybe not scientifically, but to the audience as a whole. Maybe in terms of age, for instance, or this significant gender gap that we have. And I think that might just exist generally in spaces like this, unfortunately. But there's some things that you can garner and kind of figure out and how to, some interesting details about the wider audience. But I wanted to ask people those questions because I was curious, and a lot of those questions shook my own belief about the way people digest our stuff and who these people are in particular. I love the idea that, for instance, we have a bunch of people like us in their 30s like listening to this show. I love that we have overwhelming support from our patrons, that they seem to be very happy as of the beginning of this month.
Yeah.
And that's why I started the poll in the beginning of the month, because I want to make sure that one cycle went through. So when you have a 98.9% approval rating or whatever,
there's nowhere to go but down.
One of us should run for president.
No, you've already lost. Remember, it got decided. The T-shirt votes are in.
No.
The party shirt sucks.
We have till
Our shirt
2016,
rules.
motherfucker.
Everybody loves us.
We're
There's
good.
a whole other
Moriarty
year.
Miller.
We got
The
a Star
Team Fat
Wars
Ticket.
film to get through. We got an Avengers film. We got a lot of stuff.
That's what your market. These are the markers to you.
That's
becoming
what our
president.
campaign. Our campaign is built on the same thing that Fast and Furious is built on: family, and love, and
Speaking
Cheetos.
of family and love, I was thinking, and I probably shouldn't say this on a show, but you know what? Fuck it. Is
We're
there
all
any
friends
way
here.
we could like rent out a theater for Furious 7?
Yeah.
We should look into that
Okay.
because that could be cool.
When's
That could be
Furious 7
cool.
out?
April, I don't know the exact date. April 7th, I want to say.
Okay, because we're trying to do our live event at the end of April.
Well, that's a little too late.
Well, you can't. What? You can't do another showing with all our best friends?
I mean, that makes sense.
That's what
Tim,
I'm
we're
saying.
gonna watch.
We
We're gonna
have-
watch it more than
I'm
once.
down
We
to watch
have
it again.
100 or a few hundred people in town. Might as well
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah, we all went and saw it together.
Let us know what you think about that.
I'm gonna put some. I'm gonna put. Hold on. I keep forgetting to do this. Hold on. There we go. That'll be my reminder.
One's fast, one's furious. Both are running for president 2016.
Time for my topic.
Co-presidents.
No, we're not doing. There's co-presidents.
Is it about
not a
co-presidents?
No,
Is
we're
that a
not
thing?
doing that.
Is that
at all.
legal?
Before we go any further, we just did a whole topic about Patreon. We of course want to thank everybody who supported us in January. Here are your names running through if you did your support there. If you hit the tier on Patreon to support us, patreon.com/kindafunny. Thank you so much for your support. See, there's your name. Send a screen cap to your mom. Be like, this is what I do with my money.
Put
Fuck
it on
you.
your fridge.
You should be investing in a 401k instead.
No, don't do that. My topic is simple. I'm dying. I am so fucking tired right now. I did the live stream for The Walking Dead, which meant that Monday I woke up, got ready for Colin and Greg live. I woke up probably I don't know what, 8:30, 9. What time did I roll out of bed?
I have no idea.
Kiss you on the cheek and come to work. No, okay. Anyways,
Spoon me for just a few
Sexy.
more waning minutes.
8:39 I wake up, get ready, start going to Colin and Greg live. 12:30 I start the Walking Dead live stream, and then I went for 19 hours. That's right. That's what I said
That's what
earlier.
you said,
Yeah,
18
19 hours
18
to,
and some
to
change. You don't have to
7:30.
be all like,
no, it was
oh,
7:30.
God.
We ended right around there, and then went to bed for 3 hours. Woke up, did Colin and Greg live again, and then I've just been running on a coffee since then, and that's why I had a Coke today. A little bit of sugar here in the afternoon to keep me going because we did 2 unboxings. Then we did that, packed up a bunch of shit in here, did all sorts of stuff. So I'm dying. I'm very tired. I'm wondering how much I got to beat the order tonight for sure. I have a whole checklist of things I need to do on top of that. Nick needs to make me this graphic that was running, so we need to make sure that gets done.
we'll get that.
But my question is, I want to talk about sleep deprivation and stories related to it in your own lives. Because like right now, this isn't bad. I've been more tired than this. I've done more on less sleep than this. But I am hurting, and it harkens back to dumb things I've done where I stayed up too late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is really interesting to me. Obviously, we all have stories, and we'll get to those. But what's so interesting is the fact that you don't seem that bad right now.
Yeah.
Because knowing you, and knowing how you handle things, and knowing how things can get for you, when you get stressed, you can get pretty damn stressed.
Yeah.
You have not gotten stressed at all today. You've been super fine. Like, you just went with it. And, like, you don't seem tired. You're not, like, fucking up what you're saying and shit. And that's crazy.
In my head, I feel like I am.
You're not.
No, you're not.
Like,
The other-
I wouldn't even know that you.
The other thing for me is like, you know how fast I talk generally. When I feel like I'm like in the beginning of intros, I noticed when I was like the seducer/producer Nick Scarpino. Like, granted, that's just normal person pronunciation, but for Greg Miller, that felt like it was taking way too long.
No,
and
no.
And I think I watch videos of myself where I think I'm fucking things up. Like, there's been plenty of times where in interviews it'll be like, as I live and breathe, and I'm like, what's this person's name? And I think it's a pregnant pause and I'm fucking up, and then it kicks in and I go. But like, you watch the tape back and it's just like, no, that's probably how normal brains function.
Yeah.
I'm just not used to working on that level. I'm usually down here where I think if I just run really fast through it, the Sonic method, everything will be okay in the end.
I think the thing I know about Greg after knowing him for so long and working alongside him for so long is he only gets really stressed out and frustrated when
it's least opportune.
No, that's all of us, right? There's never a great opportunity for when you're like, now is the time for me to lose my shit, if ever there was one. And great, not that Greg ever loses his shit per se. Yeah, a little bit here.
We
and
all
there,
do.
but never really 100%.
I've never lost my shit here. I want to put that out there. For the day that I do, we can make a big deal out of it.
That sounds good.
Well, after it's done. At the time when you're losing your shit, no one wants
let's
to
not
hear,
talk
oh,
about
Tim's finally losing his shit.
No.
I've lost my shit here. But I think I've seen Greg, and this is the key, I think, to you sort of keeping a constant pace, is that you pack way too much on your shoulders on a daily basis. But I think you like it, and B, I think the thing that keeps you sane is that when you schedule it out and you have a plan, no matter how much the content is, you just kind of look forward until you have that break and you're like, okay, I'm good. I've noticed that when you get frustrated is when there's
Something happens
a
and you
little
get out of
hiccup
it.
in
Yeah.
that plan.
Yeah.
and it throws off all of that planning you've done for the next like hour or 2 or 3 or week or whatever, and you're like, shit, now I have to go back and redo all that because you run on this like freight train mentality that's going forward, and if that train has to stop, it throws off the schedule for everything and it pisses you off.
The business has been eye-opening since we've launched on our own, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like 9 times out of 10 I open emails now with, hey, sorry, I used to be better at emails than this.
Yeah,
Because now emails sit there and chill for like 2 weeks. It's just like,
yeah,
we're at that point. I was describing it to Colin's girlfriend Cheryl the other day on a walk home from a pizza restaurant while Colin was running ahead to poop his pants. That I'm sitting there in front of the goal, and I'm the goalie. And I used to be so good at stopping every ball or puck that came by, and now motherfuckers are just flying by me, and I'm just like, I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
This is the best I can do. You know what I mean? There's just a shrug of shoulders, and that's what it is.
but I mean that's
And
just
so today is like totally one of those acceptance days. It's just like, it's not going to be what I want it to be. Like, I didn't have these things, but what am I going to do? I'm not going to freak out.
I mean, I think there's two mentalities for that, right? We can try to do everything, but I think history will teach us that that's just a good recipe for failure. Or you can prioritize, and that's what you have to do in business,
Yeah.
right? And we prioritize, I think, fairly well as a group. I think we talk, we sit there, we have an honest discussion of what we should be doing, and we let everything else fall by the wayside. And that's just what's going to have to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
We put out a ton of content. We really do. And that it looked like not so much when we were planning it, when we were sitting there on that one weekend when we were like, okay, let's do our production schedule and see what's going to happen. And Colin has brought this up multiple times. He's like, I don't understand why we can't just get it to a place where we shoot like 2 to 3 days a week, and the rest of it's just free, not necessarily free time, but time to do the administrative stuff and the planning and all that stuff. And that's the right mentality. But then it's almost like you still have to give something up to make that plan to do that.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's not easy. I mean, and there's no roadmap. There's no one sitting there. There's not a CEO of this company going, you messed up, guys. Go back and do it again. It's like, oh, we screwed something up and we didn't get the Patreon video up, and now people are like not pissed, but they're not happy, and that's our business. And we got to make sure people are happy, and we got to make sure.
So we
people are
cut
entertained.
Vimeo out of the equation. Fuck them.
Vimeo, man, they were fucking up, huh? And so the market spoke. I think that when we traded our jobs in at IGN, when we weren't administratively responsible for the company, that there was a level of predictability there. So like I used to go in, I had a cycle, like a system every day when I would go to IGN. I'd get there. I was most productive in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would get there and I would answer all my emails. In fact, like PR people, I think especially were astonished how quickly I answered emails. Because I was like, the faster I can get through these emails, I can just get them off my plate, and then I can play this game or review this game or do whatever I have to do. And now I look at my inbox, which is not nearly as full, but because we have so many other things to do, and I'm like, you know, for me or whatever, I'm like trying to deal with the social media and just talking to people and making sure people are happy and like learning a lot about the audience, which I think is somewhat relevant. We just saw in our last topic, somewhat relevant to the success of this company is how they're doing whatever. So I try to answer every tweet, and I have like Facebook message, like go back and forth with people and all these kinds of things. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, fuck, like what I realize is that
Where did today go, by the way?
well, that's what I
Where'd
realize
that
is
go?
that like it's just for me, like because what I'm doing is writing all day still, not creatively or whatever, but like writing all day. I'm writing tweets, I'm reading tweets, I'm writing emails to fans and Facebook messages and posts and all these kinds of things. I'm like, I look at my email inbox and I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to answer any of these emails right now.
Yep.
And then I have these gusts of energy that come out of nowhere for an hour at like at midnight, because I do a lot of random ass work at night.
Right.
Greg will tell you, like I just sit there at night and I'm just like doing random shit, and I'll just like answer all the emails, and then another week will, and I always answer mine. I'm sorry for the delay in getting back to you. That's like how every one of my emails starts now. And then I just and then all the emails are done, the inbox is clear, and then it slowly stacks up, and I just don't have the propensity right now to get like to nip it in the bud as I used to with IGN, because there's just all this other shit that has to be dealt with. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be the way it used to be, because we weren't happy. But
Right.
like I'm happier now, but feeling overwhelmed sometimes as well. And I said this before, and I'll say it again to all the social media managers out there and all the people that deal with Twitter and Facebook or whatever, newfound and infinite respect for what you do. Because it is, I really used to look at like social media stuff and be like, it's a job and it needs to be done. You need to interact. How hard can it possibly be?
Yeah.
You know? The fact is it is fucking ultimately and infinitely time consuming, you know?
Yeah.
And
to do it right.
And I think we are doing it right. And I think we're doing it beyond right, because
Bless you.
I try to go on Twitter every 8 hours or so, and I'll go and I'll answer every tweet, you know? And like that's the way I think Twitter is meant to be used or whatever. But man, it takes time. But it makes the audience out there, because they are so valuable, just feel valuable. It's not just me saying you're valuable, it's me giving you the time. But man, it's just a complicated rigmarole, you know, out there.
It's
right
a
now.
rigmarole.
Rigmarole.
Yeah, but I mean, to kind of backtrack to your topic, Greg. I mean, this is This is how I feel. Like the first month, I think, was a little harder than this month. It's been a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Now we have to.
Well, now it's just again. I'm just like, whatever. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
We have to. I mean, we have to fulfill a lot of the goals on Patreon, which we're actively doing, which is great. And that's a good problem to have. But I felt there was a period there where I couldn't, like, I think I would hit like Saturday and just sleep all day, and that was pretty brutal. But as far as ultimate sleep deprivation goes, there's one period in my life that I specifically, there's 2 periods actually that I really remember, and a lot of people who have worked on like done a professional shoot that goes longer than one day will tell you about this.
God.
We did when we were doing Another Zombie Apocalypse.
Fucking
shit. Which is a web series we did at IGN, and it was a sponsored web series. And a lot of the way these sponsorships go are, you know, they go, hey, we want to partner with you guys. We've got a certain amount of budget and a certain amount of time, and what do you guys have? And we go, okay, we want to do this cool idea, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be that. And they go, cool. Then you don't hear anything from them for a while. And then, like, a week before the first episodes due, they go, cool, go for it. And so you have a week to mobilize it. And in this particular instance, we were fortunate enough to partner up with Capcom, and they gave us a decent lead time, but they what they wanted was fairly aggressive. They wanted a 15-minute piece of narrative. They wanted it broken up into 3 episodes, and they wanted it to be reminiscent of the Resident Evil series to get, you know, promote brand awareness of Resident Evil, because I think was it remasters or was it 4?
No, it was Revelations.
Revelations, that's what it was. Excuse me, not 4. Wow. So, yeah, they were like, we need you to do this, and it needs to be 15 minutes long. Now, 15 minutes in standard script writing format means you're writing about 15 pages of narrative, which means you have enough space in there to do a complete story with a little bit of character development, which we chose not to do, per se.
Are you kidding me?
We had character...
There was growth.
Well,
Alfredo grew.
Alfredo did grow, but for the most part, it was pure shenanigans. But what that meant was we only had really budget and time, because we had to start doing posts on it immediately, basically, was that we only could really shoot for 3 days, and I only had budget for 3 days, so we had to do 5 pages a day. And anyone who does any shoots will tell you that's a recipe for disaster if you're asking for 5 pages. At most, you can shoot 2 to 3 pages a day of narrative, unless you have a really big crew or big production crew, and most of it's dialogue.
You had a huge one.
I had a decent sized one, but not nearly as big as I would have, not nearly as much prep time, nor do you ever have enough prep time for any project you ever do. You can always use more. You can always use more posts. You can always use more money. So the first day we went 4 hours over, and it was a night shoot. So we went till about, I think it was 5 or 6 in the morning on the roof of IGN.
Yeah.
Barely finished the last shot before the sun started coming up, and then I had to break my crew. And we're not a union shoot, but I try to adhere to union rules, which means you have to give, from the time the last person gets home, 8 hours in order to allow them time to sleep and come back to work. So I had to push the next day's shoot, which pushed that back. So by about the 3rd day, you were just dealing with delirium, and you're tired, and you got to get good performances out of your talent, which in this case was Tim and Alfredo and Alexis and Naomi. And to their credit, they did the best they could, but I didn't give them a lot of time to actually sit and memorize the material. So if that kind of added layers of frustration. We almost lit the building on fire. That was a little bit chaotic for a second. We had an old light.
Sean Finnegan.
That was not Sean's fault.
Finnegan.
That's something that you learn the hard way only once, is that if a light's been sitting there for a while, you need to make sure you change the bulb out, because it probably has dirt on it, and if it has dust on it, it's gonna spark and light on fire.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things.
Do you have to worry about that light ever doing that?
No, because we turn that line on a lot, so it's pretty much enclosed, so you don't have to worry too much about it. But if the bulb sits there and it's an open-faced lamp, because there's just bulbs that are exposed with little screens in front of them, it will accumulate dust, and after a while, when you turn it on, you're like, what's that smell? And normally it burns off. Like, you'll smell an old light, you'll be like, oh, that's fine, but you have to watch it. And in this instance, we looked up and I was like, that light looks weird. It's flickering. Oh, that's because there's fire in the lamp. And we, our gaffer Tej had to go up there with a fire extinguisher and blow it out. And I was like, oh, we're all gonna get fired because we used the fire extinguisher, and no one ever noticed.
Now they go back. Something's gonna happen now at IGN. They're gonna do it. It'll be like it'll shoot out confetti.
Yeah,
like no.
Like, how did they even do that? So that was one of the instances where I was like, after that I was like, I'm really tired, but I had to come in the next day and start on Monday and start doing posts for it.
Well, that's the thing about with these shoots is, like, not only is the production the most intense thing you ever freaking do, and you're just like E3 week is similar in a lot of ways, where you're just like go. There's no stopping, then you party, then you go back, and you just keep going. With shoots, it's like the production is the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. But in addition to that, you also didn't sleep the 48 hours before because you're planning.
Right.
And you don't sleep the 48 hours after because you're planning the edit and you're like getting that all started. And it's like a week of a couple hours of sleep. Not even at night, just randomly at different points.
And this is a small internet shoot. Can you imagine if you're on a film that shoots for 6 weeks straight?
My God.
And you're basically like, if you're the director of a film or a TV show, or film. I'm more familiar with the film workflow, not so much for TV. But if you're a director of a film, you have to shoot for 12 hours, which if the days go like they usually go, means you're going to go a few hours over. Then you have to come back and watch the previous day's dailies. So you get them back from the lab if you shot film. If not, you get them back from, you have them there and they're probably do a little LUT or a color treatment on them. And you have to sit there and watch the dailies to make sure you got everything before you move on to the next setup. And so your day is literally, I was listening to a great interview with the guys that shoot Game of Thrones, and they would have to like watch the dailies as they're on planes to the next location, and coordinate with the other directors.
Jesus.
And their days were like 20 hours long. And you're talking about a 20-hour day where you're like, sleep when you can, get back up and go. And they always say it's hilarious because I've read an interesting book about this where the director was like, the first 3 days of production, everyone loves you. Then the middle, like the next 20 to 25 days, everyone hates you. And then right around the time the film's about, you're doing the credits for the film, everyone loves you again because they call up and they're like, hey, can I get a different credit? Can I get this, like, can I get a promotion on the credit and stuff? And it's pretty true. But I did another shoot for a friend that was a little too ambitious. And it was right after I had done a couple freelance projects. So I was doing extra work on top of IGN. And the next day after that shoot, because it went really long, I think it went like 4 or 5 hours over. And the next day, my wife hadn't seen me for like 2 weeks, and she was like, "We need to spend some time together. I'm feeling disconnected from you, and it's not good for our relationship." I was like, "I'm really tired. You really need to let me sleep because I can't see you straight." And she's like, "I need you to come out with me. We need to just go. I need to go shopping. I need to do something with you in the sun." And I was like, "Okay." And I got halfway through walking around the outdoor mall in Palo Alto with her, and I just had to sit down. And literally by had to sit down, I mean like my legs started giving out on me.
I remember
and
this.
I just kind of collapsed and sat there for a second. I was like, "I need you to go get me like an apple juice or something that'll spike my blood sugar."
I was like, "Don't you mean orange juice?"
bullshit.
Yeah, or an orange juice. It's something that you can just. I just need something
Yeah.
that's going to get my system going. And I had to sit there for like an hour and just kind of like not
Debate
move.
what you were doing with your life.
Yeah, and then my wife's like, "What's going on?" I was like, I'm working myself too hard, and this is not good, and it's not getting me to where I want to be." So those are 2 times in my life that were very, very telling for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was literally to the point where I almost cried because I was so tired and so depleted from the night before. And I really, I was ADing the shoot, and being an assistant director is one of the hardest things to do on set because you are responsible for the schedule. So the role of the AD is to make sure that the director has his shot list and his coverage plan in place for that day's shoot. And then you have to tell all the crews and the actors and the talent where to be, and you have to run the day. And so if the day starts falling behind, it's on you. So you basically have to be the most hated person on set because you have to yell at people and be like, "Hey, you're fucking up. Get the camera over here now," or "Hey, get out of makeup. You're ready," or "Why aren't you doing your lines?" Things like that. Man, production's hard. We chose a hard lifestyle. This is not easy. We should have been accountants.
Eventually, Colin and I'll just be on camera talent, and we won't have to worry about it. It'll just be you, and then you'll get new PAs and DAs and RAs, and they'll take care of everything.
So you would think
RAs.
that.
Shout out to the RAs.
You would think that, but the problem with us is that we'll very
never
ambitious.
let go. We want all the money. We don't want to let go of anything.
No, it's not even that. It's
That's
that
why I won't let go. I'm like, no, fuck it. We don't need anything.
You look at what we're.
I'll be
doing
craft
now.
services too.
My hope is that what we can do, and I hope with any business that I think we're all in alignment and how we want to run this business is that we don't want to operate on a more is more mentality, right?
Sure.
Definitely
Right
not.
now we have a very good steady amount of content that we could double if we wanted to. We could put out 5 videos a day, but I don't think that's the best thing for the audience. And so if we eventually get to the place where we can add new people to our team, I just hope that we can sort of keep the same status quo but elevate the content to a higher level of quality that will then grow the audience that way versus creating more content because we can.
No, the more content thing doesn't work, and it's not interesting, and it overwhelms the user. And I think when we're getting messages on Twitter and Facebook saying like, "You guys are already doing too much, and I can't keep up with it," and I'm like, that's funny to me because I don't feel like we're doing that much at all. I tell Tim this all the time because we sit next to each other at the kitchen table all the time. Is that like, I look at our videos on Kind of Funny, especially Kind of Funny Games, and I'm like, it's so cool that in that 16 or 20 block kind of view you get when you click on videos on YouTube or whatever, it's just like everything from like the last 3 weeks. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, because it's good content. It's not just fucking whatever, like, and that's what I like about it. So even if people are feeling overwhelmed, I appreciate that, and that's great, and that's fine. But at least they're being overwhelmed by content that we really believe in.
If you feel overwhelmed too, remember that we redesigned kindoffunny.com, where it's everything in one place. Usually when I feel that people are talking about being overwhelmed, they're talking to me specifically, it's about the fact that it's a headache to keep up with when stuff posts on Kind of Funny, when it posts on Kind of Funny Games, and when there's stuff on Twitch, and what, like, you gotta look on our Twitters to see if there's new.
We didn't think that one through very well. But we got that to the point where it's the best we could do. I mean, like it was like that's
It
just the
goes
way
back
it
to-
is.
Limitations with
we
how
could have
things
just
work.
left everything on Kind of Funny, but then there would be 7 videos a day or whatever, and then
Yeah.
it's
Oh
like,
no, yeah. I just think that I think that the way the content goes out is well planned and thoughtful. We did not think through at all how we were going to tell people.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that.
It's hard. It's a lot of different places to get a lot.
Yeah, I
of
don't think we
different
thought that
pieces
went
of
through. I
content.
mean, like, I think that it's just because of the kind of the rapid fire nature of the content is really what's most important, but the end game of getting the content out there is important too. And I just think we were so caught up in the embryonic stages of Kind of Funny that we were not worried about the end goal, the baby coming out of the womb, as it were. You know, like it's like we were just like, well, the baby's in the gestating.
We
it's
wanted
fine.
to conceive the baby first.
Yeah,
We had the room ready and stuff, but just like we had no plan for
but we
the
didn't.
baby
Yeah,
existing.
so we thought that the products themselves are great, like Gamescast and this show I think are really good, and it's just the end result needs to be cleaned up more. And I think that the new kindoffunny.com, I agree, is like a very thoughtful way to see the entire product, including what we're doing on Twitch, which I think is really cool. I don't know how the hell you guys did that, but
This fucking wizard.
It took some
Internet
digging
wizard.
into it. Well, the glorious thing now is there's this thing called Google, and everyone always makes fun of it, but I just type questions into it, and it gives me answers.
It's
great.
awesome.
So
What I love
good.
about I was talking to Greg about this too, is my favorite thing about Google is that right now is that it used to be like look up the definition of this word, and it would be like it would bring you to dictionary.com or something. Now it just tells you the answer. They're just like cutting everyone out. It's just
Oh, yeah.
you don't need that. Like you don't need. Here's websites if you want it, but here's the actual answer.
Yeah.
Like it's like, when is Valentine's Day, and it's just like February 14th.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I love
And
that. I
like-
love that.
Like, and it's just probably murdered all these sites.
Oh,
traffic.
dude, it's my favorite thing. Is a lot of the times, like you guys
When
know,
is Valentine'sDay.com is fucked.
you know, a lot of the times, like to be a man, you have to know your own shortcomings, right? And one of my shortcomings is definitely spelling. I cannot spell. I cannot see spelling errors, right? Not only that, but I don't know if I'm using the correct word for the correct context. So oftentimes I will type said word and then define in, and that is something I noticed, is that it's so fast because it just has a little white box in that plain, not really well designed, because it was put out there by an engineer, not an artist like Apple. That plain text, which is like, this is the definition of the word, and you're like, nope, okay, I was using that wrong. So, so I'll go back to the drawing
good to
board.
know.
And try to find it.
It's
something
crazy how Google saves you with just that fundamental difference. A click, a search, which could save you 10 clicks a day, which can save you
else. Hours at the end of the
a
week.
day. Yeah, like a day of your year, basically. Of it's kind of interesting. To your question, Greg, it's funny because the most recent time I remember being truly sleep deprived was when we were in Vegas and we went to Toronto to see Frank.
Oh,
And
God,
I was
yeah.
fucking wrecked. You know,
You couldn't sleep on the plane.
I
right?
can't sleep on planes.
Yeah.
So like, and this was the fucking stroke of genius though. Was we flew, we had our whole day in Las Vegas, as the
PlayStation
last day of
experience,
PSX, and we did Podcast Beyond, and we met all these people. Then we went to dinner with Drinkbox, the guys who do Guacamelee and Severed and all that, and then we got on a plane. And by this point it was like 11 o'clock at night, so we'd already
we
been
took
awake
a red
for
eye.
like 14 hours. Then we flew from Vegas to Toronto. We landed at 6 or 7 in the morning. Timex Social Club was on the fucking... I was delirious. Timex Social Club is an obscure new wave group from the 80s out of Berkeley. Their song's playing.
We're waiting for the
like, air
tram.
tram. I'm like fucking delirious. I'm like, what is this song? We get to this hotel. We sleep for literally 2 hours.
We had
I don't-
hotel rooms for 2 hours, yeah.
We get back in. There's a car waiting for us. We drive. We have a great time with Frank. We get back. Now, the great thing about this was at this point we were up forever. We were with Brian Altano, who had a normal night's sleep and all this kind of stuff too. So I don't think he was not in the same boat.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Sean was with us too.
Sean, yeah, they got in a normal time.
And so they were like not in this like we were so tired by that point that by the time we got back to the airport to come home in Toronto, I was like fine again. But we got on an Air Canada flight that was empty.
Oh, right.
And it's so rare to have that anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Especially at a huge hub like that. And so like my whole row is empty. It's like a 5.5 or 6 hour flight from Toronto to San Francisco. And I just zonked the fuck out. And I was so tired. I was afraid. I'm like, I gotta stay up so I don't fuck up my sleep schedule. But I was so tired that we got home at like 11 o'clock that night and I just went back to bed. And I was totally fine. I was totally well adjusted again. But when I was younger, in high school, there was a couple of years of weird years. My hockey team used to practice in the mornings on certain days. And so I would stay up. Like when I lived in New England for a while and played hockey up there, we would practice after school. But we would practice before, like 5 or 6 in the morning on like random days, like Sundays and shit like that. So I would stay up all night and then play hockey and then come home and go to bed. And if I had school, I would basically stay up, do everything, go to school, and then sleep after school, and then wake up at like 9 or 10 at night. And then like
Wow.
So like school was the end of my day. Basically.
Jesus.
It was like totally weird, warped way.
That's
Like
really
that's like
weird.
how a 15 or 16-year-old kid lives his life.
Things happen. Yeah.
I had my computer and my video
You're
games, and I was
fucking
just,
set,
I was
man.
fucking, I was
That's
like,
how I am now.
I was like, this is great.
Don't have to talk to anybody.
I did that. I did that right out of college too. Right out of college, I got a job shooting wedding videos, and so they didn't give a shit when you edited. It was all done from home. I had a little home office set up, and slowly but surely, my schedule, because I would get, it was impossible to motivate to edit back in the day. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's not thrilling material either, because it's an hour and a half long piece when you're done with it, and it's someone's wedding, and you're just like, So my schedule went from, because during Monday to Friday, you would edit, and because no one gets married during those days, and then Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday or Sunday, you'd shoot some combination of either one or two weddings. And my schedule went from waking up, starting around 2, to waking up, messing around, starting around 4, and then 6, and then I would start editing around 8, and then I would edit all the way until the time when one of my roommates who had to get up early for work would get up, and I'd hear him go into the bathroom, and I knew it was time to go to bed. And it was the weirdest schedule because I was opposite. I would go to bed at like 8 in the morning and sleep till 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and you just don't even feel like you're a part of society at that point.
No, but there's something about that. I think
Like, shit, I gotta wake up because the bank's gonna close in an hour.
Yeah.
That's like a thing. I don't know anybody that does video stuff that hasn't experienced that, where it's like there's something about editing at night or even writing at night, like being creative in that way at night, that it just is unlike any other time.
Well, there's a lot less distractions for one, especially if you have roommates. So when I was editing, I had 2 roommates, and they would be around at 5 o'clock. They'd come home at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and they would just be screwing around, watching TV, playing whatever. So eventually, they would cool down around 10 or 11. That's when I would sit down and start editing, and then you just kind of get into the groove and forget what time is, and they're just gone. What is time?
Yeah, I used to write. I mean, when I used to write facts on GameFAQs and then my guides for IGN with Freelancer, I wrote. By the time I was 20, 21, 22, it changed a little bit because I had like real jobs and like I was working in a historical society and stuff. But my game facts, especially because of my fucked up sleep schedule when I was in high school, I wrote everything from like 10 at night to 5 in the morning. Basically, like if you read any of that work on game facts from back in the day when I was a kid, when I was 14, 15, 16 years old.
There's all these references to the moon.
I was basically, that was all written in the middle of the night. I remember clearly because I remember that I used to have a thing where like it's 5 a.m. I have to go to bed now. It was just, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me at that point. It was just weird. It was just weird. Like, because even when I would go out with my friends in high school and college and like, party or whatever, and then I get home and it'll be like 2 in the morning, I'd be like, well, just gonna hang out now. I watch like Cheaters. Yeah. Eat like, I used to just take peanut butter and jelly into my bedroom with saltines and just fucking spread them on the saltines, just eat them and watch Joey Greco on fucking Cheaters, getting stabbed and thrown in the water.
For me, it was always like, it was always just a sort of some level of procrastination that pushed the time later and later and later into the night. And I hate it. I mean, for the longest time, especially after college, I was like, I just do not want to work. I just wanted someone to come around and recognize the talent and just pay me to be me. And I had to wait.
Exactly.
We found you.
Years later.
We found you.
Well, so that's crazy. So for me, sleep is very important to me. Like, I think I like sleep. Everyone loves sleep, but like, I really enjoy sleep. I think it's unhealthy how much I enjoy it and how much I want. Yeah. Because like healthy is probably 7 hours, maybe 8 hours, whatever. Yeah. Like, if it was up to me, I would sleep 13 hours a day. Like, if I had that time, that'd be awesome. I can't sleep on flights. Way more than that. So like traveling, if I have to travel across the country, like to New York, that always messes up my schedule, and I always feel sleep deprived, and that's all bad. There's been a couple video game scenarios. Like I remember waiting in line. Waiting in line always causes problems. Sleeping. I had to stay up all night to get the Wii, and like that fucked my day up the next day and all that shit. Came home, played some tennis.
God damn it, Wii fucking my day up.
It does that. But really, for me, it's more about, there's 3 distinct things. There's production, like Nick was talking about. And I remember being in college and having to, well, of course, there's always school.
Sure, yeah. All nighters and studying.
Yeah, having to freaking write essays and stuff. And I'll never forget, like, writing these things and being like, I just want to write this video instead. I don't want to do this. I want to write this video. And then I'd finish the essay and then start writing a video just because it's like, it's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I love that now that's what's keeping us up. So we did something right where it's like I still have those nights where I don't sleep just because I'm like, I want to do this, and I start listing lists because that's all I ever fucking do with my life, and like I'll stay up all night doing that, and I'm like, that's great. So I get sleep deprived for things I like. But video games are another big one. I'm gonna lump video games in with friendships and sleepovers because Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, like Halo, all these games, you just start playing with your friends, and then it just turns into let's just stay up all night. Yep. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. And it never is.
No.
Never Terrible. Is that worth it. But it's just like, oh, whatever. It's already 2. We might as well stay. Can we see the sunrise? we don't give a fuck about the sunrise. Why do we say that?
Yeah.
But like we always do that, and you push yourself, and you make fun of the first person that falls asleep. and it
Junior high
just becomes-
sleepovers were all that. Yeah.
We should do a topic just on sleepovers.
Yeah.
Maybe next week. That would be fun.
That's
I
fun.
I was gonna say there was a time in my life right after college, like right when I literally had nothing to do because I could edit whenever I wanted to, where my buddies and I would stay up till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean,
We
there
just
was a
talk.
summer where Alfredo stayed over at my house every single day, and man, our schedule was so fucked up. But we would just stay up for no reason every night.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest cause of I can't even fucking say this. I have problems with this.
It's
Sleep
okay.
deprivation.
Deprivation.
Deprived.
Fuck my life. Is women. Like when
You
you're
should
in
be
that,
so lucky.
there's two different scenarios where this is a problem.
Okay.
One is when you're first talking to somebody and it's the initial chase and you're doing the text back and forth or the AIM messages or the freaking telegraph pigeons or whatever the hell you had to do back then.
Wow.
But it's staying
Carrier
up all night
pigeons.
and constantly like
Telegraph
for me, I
pigeons.
remember for me it was like MySpace messages
Sure.
and stuff like that or AIM, specifically AIM,
yeah.
where it's just you stay up all night, you're not even saying anything. It's just fucking how are you?
Just trying
I'm
to
good.
figure out
What
how
are
you can send a
But
dick
it's like-
pic through AIM.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like you stay up all night and it's not worth it, but it
And then
makes
you-
you feel so good.
And you get to that point where it's like, oh, you want to hang out? Yeah. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We
But
could
it's
rent a
that
movie.
all night, but it's something that it feels nastier when
Just
it's at
say it.
night. It's just like it's just
I know what
good.
we want to do. We want to be inside each other.
That's one of them. But the other thing is when you're with a girl and you start fooling around. Fooling around, I think, is the best way to put it. Because fooling around is never a quick thing.
No.
Fooling around is gonna last all night, and it's
Yeah.
gonna mean your day the next day is gonna suck.
Yeah.
And it's like there's that moment that goes through your head where you're like, man, I have work tomorrow. I got a lot of work tomorrow.
yeah.
Like I need to be on point tomorrow.
But
But I really want to do this, And then that's that moment where you're like, tomorrow's gonna suck. I'm gonna want to sleep
yeah.
so bad. I'm not gonna get it.
So like
There's the
present
third scenario.
present you is like I don't care, and future you is like I'm gonna be so pissed at present you right now.
yeah.
I'm gonna
But
be
it's
so
like-
pissed at you.
Present me knows that, but doesn't give a shit. Present me
I got
makes that choice.
I told you the story. I got in a car accident because of that one time.
I didn't hear that.
So I was visiting my parents' house when I was in college. My dad was like, "Hey, you probably need new brakes. Come over. Let's check your brakes out." Because I was like, "They're squeaking." He's like, "I'll do your brakes for you." Which I love my dad. He's a very handy man. He knows a lot about brakes and being a mechanic in general.
Dad loves brakes.
But
Knows about
he
them.
has
did
a
not.
passion for brakes.
He does not know. Well, my dad's like one of those guys who's like, "Why would I pay someone else to do this? I can do it
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
I've been doing this for years." But I had a Jetta at the time, and it was like a souped up like VR6 version of the Jetta, so the brakes were like way different. My dad's like, and he just kind of stared at him for a while, and he's like, "Well, maybe let's just do this tomorrow before we have to go to work." And it was Saturday night. Meanwhile, my friends were like, "Hey, we're hanging out at my place." The parents were out of town because we were all in college at this point, so no one gave a shit who was coming or going. And my buddy's little sister was there. We'd always had sort of
always the buddy's little sister.
yeah, and I think she was a freshman or sophomore in college at that point. And we'd known each other for a really long time because we went to high school together too. But it was just that one night when I was like, "Hey," and she was like, "Hey," and we spent the whole night kind of fooling around.
Yeah.
And when I said the whole night, I mean like, oh, the sun's coming up, and I had work the next day, but I had to finish my break. So I go home. My dad used to be meticulous about this. He would just wake me up at like 9, and he'd be like, "We got to do this because it's going to take us a couple hours, and you got to go to work." And I'm falling asleep while I'm watching I'm sitting on a bucket, and I'm falling asleep watching my dad do these breaks. And eventually he was like, "I can't figure out how to do these. We're gonna have to put it back to where they were before." And like, "Well, you have to come back because borrow my car and go." So I took my dad's 4Runner, and I was on the 91 freeway, and I was just like, "It's just so warm right now.
Oh no.
It's just so warm." And there's like a little dull drone on the radio, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good." And I opened my eyes, and I was approximately 3 feet away from the car in front of me, going about 40 miles an hour, and just plowed into him. And like I braked. Luckily, I braked enough to slow the pace to not hurt anyone. But I hit that car probably going 20 miles an hour. They hit the car in front of them, who hit the car in front of them. And of course, it's all my fault. And so my insurance, and I pretty much totaled my parents' 4Runner.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, that was not worth it. But then 6 months later, after the Catholic guilt of my mother was gone for having totaled her car, it was totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because no one
Scarpino.
got hurt, and it was okay. But and his little sister was super cute.
Other than that, it was.
There's a
so cute.
third scenario in a relationship or with girls when it's just things go wrong.
Oh, God,
and you
yeah.
argue all night, or you get in the fight, or
let's not even talk.
Okay, we
about
won't talk
that.
about this. But
That is so upsetting.
That's
I
the worst.
fucking hate that.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
when it's just like
when you're sleep deprived the next day because of the fucking arguments or whatever.
It's
and
like you're on the
"Ah."
phone and you haven't said anything for like 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
it's just like, all right then. I mean, you're not gonna hang up now. Oh no, you're not hanging up. It's like, all right, I'm not hanging up. Do you have anything else to say? It doesn't matter if I have anything else to say.
You should know what I want to say.
You just yeah. Oh, no.
You know what I'm going to say here. You should know.
Well, we should have a whole topic about breakups at one point.
I feel like we have to have done that before.
I don't know if we have or not.
Really?
But
Wow.
I broke up with a girl one time while I was.
We should do this topic one day. Here's
See?
what I'm going to say.
I'll
do it.
save it. We should do a topic for it.
I'm going to add it to the list because we've been doing it. Nick had a really serious one as far as being sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Mine was just going to be when Soldier Field was being renovated. Chicago Bears played in Champaign, Illinois, which is the Champaign University of Illinois Stadium, and that where Chicago was 6 hours away from Columbia, Missouri, Champaign that was only 4 hours away. So me and Noonan, a friend who was at Illinois State, he would drive. Shout out to Pat Noonan. We bought like 4 sets of tickets or whatever so we could see the Green Bay game and a couple other games, and I went back there, and the Green Bay game was a Monday night game, which meant it ended, and then it was already super fucking late, let alone to drive back 4 hours in the dark on I-70 and all these other things. But I did it, and I remember getting close to nodding off and stopping at a Denny's and getting like steak and eggs and drinking a coffee or whatever, and then getting home, and literally it's one of those things. I pulled up into the house in college, I slammed the door, I'm like, oh thank fucking God, I'm finally home, I can finally go to bed, and I got up to the door and touched the knob, and I'm like, I locked my keys in the car. So then I had to call around. I called the cops and like, hey, can you come? You do the thing, and they're like, we can't do that anymore. That's not what we do. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, well, the officers still carry them? And they're like, well, sometimes or whatever. I'm like, okay. So then I hung up and my roommate had left the back door open. I went there, but I didn't want to leave my keys in the car overnight. I went in there, called from the house phone, and said that somebody's trying to break into a car out front. And they're like, are you sure he didn't just lock his keys on? I'm like, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. So then I was out there with a coat hanger, just fucking around with it until the cop pulled up. And then I'm like, oh, hey, sorry, I locked myself on the key. He's like,
awesome.
let me see if I have a blackjack. And he didn't. So then I still had to call an all-night tow company, and I was like, motherfucker.
I like it. That was pretty schemey.
Yeah, you like that? I'm a schemer,
That was
too.
good.
I can scheme once in a while when I need
was real
to.
good.
Yeah.
I think I've told this story before. That reminds me of when I went to the summer sanitarium. Have I ever told you guys the story? I've only been to a handful of concerts in my life. My buddy was like, hey, do you want to go see Metallica?
Yeah.
And I was like, sure,
You're like,
I don't care. And they did a summer sanitarium tour, which was at the Coliseum down by USC in LA. And I had a load-in the next day. My brother used to hire me out to just carry shit because that was pretty much all I was good for in college because I had weight. So I could just like use that weight to carry other weight. Mm-hmm. My brother had this set that he was loading into San Juan Capistrano mission at San Juan Capistrano, and it was this hulking like 2-story set that he made out of steel. So every piece of it weighed like 300 pounds. And he's like, "Are you sure you're going to be back in time for this thing? Because you got to drive all the way from LA when the thing's done, and our load-in starts at like 6 a.m. because we got to go." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm totally gonna be back." Drive in. I get there at probably 5:15 in the morning. And just enough time, and he had rented hotels for everyone down there so people could sleep overnight and start really early in the morning. Just enough time for me to lay down, and people started to get up. And the entire next day was a 14-hour load-in. And he tells the story of how one of his friends looked over at one point, and I was so delirious that I was shadowboxing in the middle of a field. I was just like doing katas, right? And he was like, and the guy was like, "What the fuck is your brother doing?" And my brother was like, "I don't know. Just he's an idiot."
There's
Nick.
Today, like when my alarm went off, I killed it, but there was something like that sleep, like it was such a deep sleep, like my body needed it to come out of that. Was so weird. And then like I nodded back off, and then you came over, and I heard you shut the door and say something to Colin.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, it felt like I had just shut my eyes, but then you open up and I had all this energy. All of a sudden, it was crazy.
Yeah, you were freaking right as rain this morning.
I was
surprised.
ready to go. I had my little things. Yeah, the thing I like about working about you guys, obviously, is you don't have to hide anything. We all love each other. We're all family. All this other shit and whatever. And I've gotten all this other garbage
All this other
or whatever.
shit.
Colin and I have obviously been around the block long enough with each other that like I've done the thing where I bite Colin's face off. Like Colin always gets the raw end of my emotional spectrum because like for him especially now especially you fuckers are on the list too, where I don't feel like I have to hide it or whatever if something's wrong. And then I bite Colin off, and then but Colin always like, don't fucking talk to me that way. Blah. And then I apologize. So today on the Colin and Greg live show, I did something. And I was playing with it a bit where I was pounding the table, how I click open a window or whatever. And you're like, you're grumpy, blah, blah, blah. And I just, in my head, I'm like, I must be. If Colin's saying it, I must be. So I just calm down, let's dial it back a bit. Like Colin helped right me a little bit there with a little nudge.
Those are two of my favorite interactions. Like that's my favorite interaction to watch in this household is when Colin will fire back. But he does it in a very kind, joking manner, but with a stern fatherly voice. and it kind of snaps Greg back into line, back into like reality. It's pretty funny to watch.
We're a good couple.
Ghost gravity.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Tim,
Yes.
what's your topic?
All right. Bumblebees.
Like from Transformers.
No. Like the bug.
You mean the giant, the monstrous bee?
Yeah.
The puffy bee.
So here's
This evolutionary
Like,
mistake.
Exactly. That is my whole thing with this. What the
essential.
fuck is their deal?
The
They
bumblebee?
piss me off because it's like, all right, how much must it suck to be a bumblebee?
It must be
'Cause
awesome. No one screws with a bumblebee.
Are you
You
kidding
think
me?
other insects are
Here's the
screwing with a
thing.
bumblebee? That thing's
Bumblebees,
huge.
Yeah, they're fucking little fat fucks of fluff that don't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, they pollinate.
Okay, great. Go pollinate. Now here's the thing. How would you feel if you were a bumblebee and you're chilling here and your family includes wasps and yellow jackets?
I don't know if that's how that. Oh, I see. You're talking about like just like genealogy. And okay, I thought you mean like family, like they all live together.
So you're saying
I'm
they're like
gonna
the, they're
assume
like
they
the
live
little
together.
bitch. You're saying
they were like
They got the
they're
short end
they're
of the stick.
Hufflepuff
No, I feel like
of the bee family.
I feel like the regular bee is the Hufflepuff. Just
What the fuck's a regular bee?
the normal regular bee. The
honeybee, the honeybee, the
The
honeybee.
bumblebee is the big fucker. That's
See, what's
like this
interesting,
big.
If you were to say bee,
Yeah.
I think of bumblebees. To
that's-
me,
that's
bumblebees
incorrect.
are the default bee.
No,
and all
that
the
is
other
not
ones
correct.
are just like the superior
I think
souped
like
up
the
bees.
I think the drones and stuff are like the regular bee.
Yeah, that's just a bee. There's a normal bee that's about, it's about this big. You're talking maybe 3/4 of an inch. Not very big. They have one stinger, which is the world's worst self-defense mechanism.
Yeah, it's awesome. They kill themselves.
Suicide bomber.
Basically.
It's so weird. Like that's so fucking weird. I don't understand because a hornet or a yellow jacket will stab you over and over again.
Oh, they'll just keep going on your ass.
I've been fucked by hornets.
Oh, yeah?
You know, like
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
and I mean that literally and figuratively.
This giant bee just comes down and has sex with you.
I landscaped for a long time, and I've had encounters, man, with hornets.
yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and,
You-
like
'cause-
where they are not. They don't fuck around. They will destroy.
Especially when you accidentally disturb the nest, you
Yeah.
don't know you did. There was a hornet's nest that was like in shrubs in my buddy's backyard growing up. And you remember when you were growing up, you would do stupid shit like just run down hills to see if you could make it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I made it. Let's try it again. Like I
Yeah.
attempted fate once
You
and I
keep
was
doing it
fine.
until you fall.
You keep doing it until you don't realize that your body's eventually going to get tired and your legs are going to give out and you tumble and your head lands in a hornet's nest. And that's what happened to me. And that fucking thing exploded with hornets. And they came out and we all ran for our lives inside, killing them as we're going. There was a couple inside and I had like 5 sting. The good thing is they don't leave the stinger in you. The bad thing is my head, like the back of my head, like
it
swelled up.
swells.
My God.
And it was so incredibly painful.
It
I was
hurts,
like,
man.
take whatever you have in the freezer and put it on my head right now, so I don't have to feel my skull.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, getting stung hurts. I mean, bee stings are nothing. Like the only weird thing is when you get stung by a bee, you have to like look and you usually see its guts hanging off
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sting.
yeah.
You have to like kind of pull it out.
But you gotta get that stinger out too, because it
Yeah.
has that little like nerve that keeps digging into your.
Yeah. But hornets, man, like it's so funny, man. Like 1 or 2 of them will just be like, "Ba-da, ba-da-da-da." like a few times, and then they just bounce.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus Christ.
Drive by shit.
I get it. You know what I mean? Like
You got me. You got me.
I ran over a hornet's nest when I was on a ride-on mower once, and it was bad news.
Did you jump
Yeah.
off the mower?
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, no, man. Those things are so
The
bad.
mower
rolled
just
into
keeps
traffic,
going.
yeah.
It's a mower that's like the mower of death. It's surrounded by a bale of fucking
No one can stop it. It's a town nightmare.
Let it go. Get away from it.
I got stung in the eyelid one time. by
Oh, that's dangerous.
One of those yellow jackets, and that's traumatized me when I was young. And then I remember me, Kevin, and my brother used to like just do dumb shit like run down hills and stuff. But we saw a beehive thing.
Yeah,
We're like,
let's
throw a
play
rock
with
at
it.
it. 'cause
Oh,
we
yeah,
thought that was
yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
We did that, yeah.
And we threw the rock at it, and then it exploded. And it's like they knew.
They know. They
They
fucking
They
know.
came for us, and I've never been that scared. Like I was so I have been that scared
When you're on
There's
the
been
roof.
a couple other times.
Yeah.
There was one time a goose chased me, and I was fearful for my life.
But then at the last second, your dad ran in and
No.
beat the shit out of the goose.
no, my dad ran in, grabbed me, and ran off. And the goose bit him in the ass.
Nice.
So fuck that goose. But anyways, the bee started chasing us, and I was so scared. Like I started like I wasn't crying, but like I was like so emotional because I had seen My Girl recently.
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
that
yeah.
scared the fuck out.
Oh,
of me.
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna die. Me, Kevin, my brother are gonna die right now. We didn't, thank God. But bees are so fucking scary,
Yeah,
man.
they-
But like hornets and wasps and all these, they look so cool. And like when you think about them, you're like, really fucking badass. They're pretty bad. They
No,
look
they're
like they
cool.
have bad
They're
badass
cool
helmets
looking,
on.
but-
They're like the Boba Fett's
are.
of the freaking insect world.
Sure.
To me, when you look at a wasp up close, it is like looking at millions of years of evolution telling you to stay away from this thing.
It's a weapon.
It is a flying, living weapon, precision weapon. It's like the sniper of the insect community.
There's a video that I saw recently. It's a slow motion video of, and I'm gonna get the freaking genuses and families and all that shit wrong, but fuck you.
Good use of
giving a
genus.
crap. There's like, I think they're honeybees, and there's like 10,000 honeybees in their house,
in a
whatever
hive.
the fuck it's called,
The hive.
and there's 5 wasps or
I think I
hornets
did
or
see this
whatever.
too, yeah.
I think I showed you.
Yeah.
And they come in and just fucking wreck shop, and they kill all of them.
No shit.
They just fucking kill all of them, and it's so violent. And it's like, it almost looks like a choreographed movie where they're just fucking grabbing them, biting their heads off, and throwing them away, and just fucking stinging motherfuckers with their butts and shit.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
I'll tell you, the only thing, and Colin will attest to this, the only thing that can beat the wasp
It's
is
a
the
bigger
ants.
wasp. Oh.
No, it's the ant. The other. Have you ever seen an ant take down shit?
Well,
just a
dude,
pile, just a bunch of ants.
the scary ants are fucking scary. I want to see like an ant, hornet, and
Scorpion?
scorpion, but that's not what I'm talking about. Scorpion,
Crab?
You can add him.
What is this? What's he digging?
The,
For those of you watching at home,
somebody help me.
Tim is just like, he has chef
Scorpion.
mitts on,
No,
just
it's
trying
not
to
a scorpion.
tie his
What?
shoes.
Praying mantis.
Yes, praying mantis. Like that would be the best fatal
did you know
4-way
that?
I've
I
ever
would've never
seen.
gotten
I
there.
don't know that the praying mantis is that fearsome of a creature when compared to like when I say ant, I mean you cannot one singular ant. He's not going to do anything. I'm talking about like
Swarms
a
of
ton of fire ants.
Yeah.
Like when they get on something, they can take down small pets.
Yeah, their pheromones will guide everyone towards the target.
It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, bees are funny because they're essential. Like I've been reading a lot about like bees are becoming scarce in the United States. They're scarcer, and they're like, and it's called what the fuck is it called? It's not quite called this, but it's like the honeybee disappearance or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of buzz about that.
Yeah. And like what they're saying is that like what's happened is that there are beekeepers. What the fuck is it called?
I know what you're talking
You know
about.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
Like
can't
there's
remember the
things
name
like
for it.
where like hives just disappear. Like entire colonies just disappear. Millions of bees are just gone. And they think it's because of some diseases and some of the pesticides we're using and all this kind of stuff. Also the Africanized honeybees and our bees kind of commingling and stuff like that. But
I thought it was also climate too. Like
yeah,
global
climate could be
warming,
like they don't really know. Like it's
Yeah.
like they're like, what is happening that like is making this happen?
Damn killer
And there's
bees.
there's actually quite a few documentaries on Netflix about it, which are really interesting. That like people will drive in trucks now that like have bee colonies that are like stable and will drive from like Almond Grove to Orange. Like they have like a
Yeah.
whole thing where like they're selling their bees basically to different growers and agriculturalists because they without the honeybee, like all of American agriculture like collapses. It's just not possible. And they were saying how like they're even trying to train people, like migrant workers and whatever, how to maybe pollinate like apple trees and stuff like that. Like they have to do it by hand because like the bees like aren't there. It's insane.
That's crazy.
So like and they're like without like the honeybee just seems like this innocuous kind of annoying thing and they're pollinating your flowers in front. But the fact of the matter is like in the Central Valley, for instance, like they have to pollinate, like they are endemically pollinating the almond trees and the oranges and like without them nothing happens. And so like they were saying like some people say like, well, climate change and all these things are like really scary, war and terrorism or whatever. They're like, dude, like without like the honeybee like agriculture collapses without
this is a serious thing.
like without
I
corn-
know, it's just funny the setup to it was like terrorism and all
Terrorism.
like they're around the coffee shop and
Bees.
like, I'll tell you what, not this terrorism. That's
But the
bees.
way they were putting it was really interesting because I'm like, all right, so like you can't eat like some flowering plants and stuff like that, which is
Can't eat
almost
anything.
everything. But they were saying like, okay, so the corn crop collapses. Who's going to feed the cows to give you beef?
Right.
And without the beef, who's going to, so it's like,
Yeah, it's
it is
domino.
Yeah, it's like they're saying like it's a fucking catastrophic issue. It's really,
It all goes back to the bumblebee.
it's really fascinating. And they're trying to figure out like what happened. Like it's like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
like they don't know, like it's just one of those, like, is it climate? Is it pollution? Is it the pesticides? Like what the fuck happened? Because it's like literally just the last 10 years.
I'm still gonna go out on a limb and say it's the ridiculous amount of overpopulation that we have and all the cars that we're driving. I really think that, and I have no scientific data to back this up.
Good.
That if we just all drove electric cars, we'd be okay. Everything would be fixed.
The bees would be cool. Just
Bees would
happy
be fine.
with everything.
They'd be like, oh, those cars sound like us. They're buzzing,
What?
electrically buzzing.
Okay.
A buzz.
All right, going back to the bumblebee
Buzz,
though,
buzz.
and
Yeah,
how
he
much of a
sucks.
bitch he is. But like,
Damn. All right.
for all the shit that I'm talking about him, I will say I have a weird fascination with him.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I like their colors.
they're really they have a nice look to them.
Yeah.
And like I remember like there's nothing funnier than little kids in Bumblebee costumes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like those little dudes.
Remember Blind Melon?
They'll just be running. What?
Blind
When I
Melon.
wake in the morning.
Nope.
No, that's
no.
Fun Blonde. Sorry.
All I can say is that my life is pretty
Oh, yeah.
plain.
Yeah.
Plain, not lame.
Lane?
Plain.
Plain.
Yeah. There was Bumblebee girl who danced. You remember this? You're way
Yes,
too young for this,
yes.
but you probably saw it like on
I-
Behind the Music.
I saw it on like I love the something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she was,
I love the shit I'm too old for.
Yeah.
I think it was out of the 90s.
By the way, it's called colony collapse disorder.
Yes.
I was looking it
It's
up.
a good name.
And
CCD.
they're saying, CCD, in parentheses,
There you go.
is a phenomenon in which worker bees from a European honeybee colony abruptly disappear. And they're saying it's over 50% of all bees
Nick,
are gone.
can you make a movie about this?
No, I think they did. I think it was a Mark Wahlberg film.
Yep, that's right. The M. Night Shyamalan one.
Yeah.
That was the DreamWorks one.
No, the Whispering Winds or whatever.
There was
they
one
called
where
it.
the
Woods.
that was
The
about the
the
trees
Widdies.
coming alive and killing all humans.
Yeah, that was the one.
It's similar to that. Had nothing to do with bees though.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I never watched
Oh, okay.
it. I was not going to watch a Mark Wahlberg movie where he tries to seriously act.
Oh.
Useless.
Wow, it says
It's not what I want from Mark Wahlberg.
in 2005, people paid $200 billion just to pollinate their crops because the bees, they couldn't get native bees to do it. It's incredible.
I don't know why this is so funny to me. For some reason,
It's a
When you're
serious
starving,
issue.
you'll see who's laughing. When you have
I-
no Coke,
Yeah, when
Hey.
you can't get that Coke.
dude.
that'll really
That's gonna be a
sting.
problem.
Yeah, the corn syrup in the Coke.
I'm telling you right now. I have to get it with real sugar.
It's so weird. Like we talk about all these problems that are going to undo society, or a lot of people do, like what is it, terrorism and war and all that kind of stuff. Man, some fucking random thing like that is going to cause like a massive famine.
It will be the Bumblebees. A weird thing about Bumblebees is, there's the classic piano song "Fly to the Bumblebees," and what's really weird is that bumblebees can fly at all because it doesn't make physical sense for the size of their body compared to their wings. Like they shouldn't be able to fly, but they can.
Is this something real or is this something
This
you're
is something
saying?
that I did just read on Wikipedia. And
Okay.
I'm trying to sound like Colin.
That's fine. I just thought I didn't know if you're just going off what you envision a bumblebee to look like, and then you're like, it's weird.
No,
They
I
can
They're
just read
God's
that.
creatures.
I've told you this story before, but I'll tell it again because it was one of the most terrifying events that's ever happened to me to this date. I was playing soccer in my buddy's backyard. I don't know why. I looked up and I saw a branch that had like it was like a pepper branch, with the red peppers that used to that
Oh,
would sit on the tree. And I was like, I kind of want to mush those in my hands right now and just I don't know why. You just
Yeah.
subconscious.
yeah,
Little
I know.
boys do
You want
little
to
boy
you
things.
destroy nature. I
And
understand.
I'm like, huh? And I reached up and I grabbed it, and I felt something moving in my hand, and I opened up my hand. There was a bumblebee in there, and it looked up at me. I mean, like huge. It was when I was a kid, it was the size of my palm,
Sure.
basically. And I swear to God, that thing looked at me before it stung me, and was like, "This is happening."
Now you're
Okay,
fucked.
now here's the thing, Nick.
And
I
like,
think
I was
you were
trying
the
to
first
shake it
person
off,
in
and
recorded
it wouldn't
history
go, and I was like,
to get
"Get
stung by a bumblebee.
Oh, dude, they're
That's.
brutal.
I didn't even say this.
And maybe it
my
wasn't a
whole
bumblebee.
spiel
In my
about this.
brain, it was a giant hairy bee monster that still haunts me, and it could have just been just a big.
It was
bee.
probably not a bumblebee. Because that's my thing. Is just like if you got stung by a bumblebee, just leave. Get the fuck
I've
out.
been stung by a bee before.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure I
by
got
a
stung. I'm
bumblebee?
pretty sure it was a bumblebee.
Presumably.
Bring me up an image of what you're in when you say bumblebee.
I'm thinking the fat fuck motherfuckers.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fat fuck motherfucker.
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
I know.
you're
The
talking
really
about.
fluffy.
Okay, I know
ones.
who you're talking about. I know
They
who
don't
you're
sting,
talking
dude.
My
When
sis-
you're skinny
Pretty sure
little
they
dudes,
sting.
those sting you.
Pretty sure they sting, and I'm pretty sure their stingers are huge, and it's really painful.
My sister Allie, this is a weird thing. With the big bees you're talking about. When I lived on Long Island, we lived in a nice house with surrounded by a lot of flowers. So we attracted quite a few bees and birds and things of this nature. And she used to walk up to and was able to pet the bee because you know how they have like they're so docile and shit like that. Actually, like if you don't fuck with them really, she used to touch them and pet their backs or whatever, and they wouldn't move or whatever. It was like so weird.
That's weird.
So I used to make
Whisper.
I was like, can you
that
do
guy.
this to make me laugh? Let me see.
That motherfucker.
That's not a bumblebee.
That's
That
a
is
drawing of a bee.
That is a bumblebee.
That's a bumblebee.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, like how terrifying that
These
thing is.
guys. These
That's a
guys.
bumblebee.
Yeah, yeah.
They are weird looking.
But they
Yeah.
don't sting you.
They do sting you.
No, they don't though. I did Wikipedia research. They do sting, but only if you really fuck with them. So I guess you did really fuck with
Yeah,
them.
that thing was in my hand. It
Nick
was huge.
encased it in his sweaty
Well,
little mitt.
they have to be self-aware that they're gonna die when they do it.
Imagine.
So it
if-
must be for the good of the colony. You know, like,
Yeah, take care.
Imagine if a giant hand right now reached in,
I'd sting
thinking
the
we
shit out
were
of it.
berries, and grabbed all of us. What would you do to that hand
Bite.
to survive?
I'd
I guess
bite.
Yeah, that's the.
Wet it.
probably
what
shit
happened.
myself.
Yeah.
What is this big hand? What is happening? It's Godzilla.
It's Gojira. That's what I say in Japanese.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Game Over Reggae show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, you can get the whole show early each and every Friday over at patreon.com/kindafunny. But if you don't have any money to give us, no big whoop. You go to youtube.com/kindafunday Monday through Thursday.
Yep.
Kind of
I-
fun
I-
day, Monday.
Monday. Why don't we say that more?
I liked it.
Broken out topic by topic, day by day for your amusement until we post the whole thing for free on Friday on YouTube, on MP3 services like iTunes and SoundCloud and such.
It's everywhere, by the way. Like, for
'Cause
people
you're
that are clear, we talk about
everywhere
iTunes
to
a lot, but it's
me.
on Beyond Pod. It's on freaking Stitcher. It's on. It should be on the not Xbox, Microsoft Marketplace for the Zune people.
Okay.
People are telling me it's not, but I've seen it, so I don't know.
No one knows how to use the Zune marketplace.
True.
Is what you're
You
saying.
should stop using Zunes, to be honest.
Everyone go to kindoffunny.com, see all the content we put up each and every day. Go to kindoffunny.com/store, buy the new Tim shirt, which is just a black V-neck we've put up. Buy the painting too.
Yeah, before that shirt comes up, why don't we?
Put the fucking shirt up. Oh my God. It's so easy.
even know if they sell a
a
black
limited
V-neck.
run, a limited run of 50 V-necks. That's it. Just do it.
All right.
There you go.
What?
All right.
What? Just do it. Do you hear how he talked to you?
Yeah.
Like he,
Yeah.
Just fucking do it. No, you don't got it, man.
Greg's at the tipping point again. Just let him
No,
go.
no,
Let
just
Just
him go.
call
He's
District
gonna
Lines
spit
and be like,
himself
hey,
out.
do you have a box of 50 V-necks that you haven't put any silk screening on?
Yeah,
Like, can you
4XL.
se-
Just
can you
shove them up there. Who
sell it?
cares?
I will make
Sell
it
it
happen.
as is.
Like I do with everything else here around here.
You
I
do
will
make
Make
happen.
it. You make
Things
it. You make
happen.
the world spin. You do it all for us.
like a top spin round. Right
Greg
round,
won't care. He
baby,
won't care
right
about
round.
anything you do.
I won't. You're right. I'll never give you the credit you deserve. I don't want it to go to your head.
Greg's got to be the unsung hero.
I appreciate
I am
that.
the
Greg is
unsung
the
hero of
unsung
this
hero.
place.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you on the Michelle Branch. Damn it, the legend of Michelle Branch. I couldn't
Yeah.
fucking remember what it was going to
Pretty
be.
nasty.
I'm going to fucking bed.
Good night.